Happy New Year. I'm your Monday host of the SportsCage, Teagan Witko, joined alongside Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. It's not too deep into the year to be wishing people a Happy New Year, is it? What did Larry David say? I think it was like the 7th was the cutoff or something?
No, there's no cutoff. It's when you see somebody for the first time in the new year, you may say Happy New Year to them if you choose.
So what if I don't see someone until February?
If you choose and want to say Happy New Year in February, go right ahead.
So we're not going to hate on this show. We're not going to judge people on this show. Everybody is welcome.
Exactly.
Doesn't mean everyone's safe, but Happy New Year.
True.
Yes, thank you for taking the time. Of course, we have Colson manning the buttons and the video stream and everything that goes along with making this show happen. It does truly take a village, and we appreciate everybody's assistance in trying to make this thing run as smoothly as possible. Of course, you can join us on X, on sportscage.com, on our YouTube channel as well, and of course, 620 CKRM. All of our guests this afternoon will be joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. It is the pizza known worldwide for a reason, loaded with toppings of Western Canadian ingredients and always cooked to perfection. Not to mention, we're going to be giving away some Pats tickets today. So if you want to join in the conversation, maybe you have a question you'd like us to pass along to one of our guests this afternoon, or if you just want to chime in, join the conversation, you will be entered to win those tickets as Red Deer is in town at the Brent Center on Friday. So Colson and I will randomly select a winner at the end of the show today and make sure that those get to the rightful winner. Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262 to chime in. And yes, it is brought to you by Prairie Land Rentals, whatever you need to get the job done. Prairie Land Rentals probably has it. Also an official Husqvarna snow thrower dealer. Check out the store. Go talk to the owner. Deal directly with them. 600 Albert Street. Now, as I mentioned, we have a number of guests that are going to be hopping on with us today. Now, one of those guests, Riley Schick, former U of R Ram, Lumsden native, off to the Dream Bowl in Dallas, Texas this weekend. So that's a scouting opportunity and a really cool one for someone from right here in the province, offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Big opportunity. I'm really curious. I can't wait for this conversation because if you talk to athletes preparing for the combines, whether that's the CFL or the NFL, of course, they're two different animals. Yeah. But you prepare your body differently. So I'm curious if he's prepared his body differently and how much experience he's got with the American game, because it's a very different game in the trenches, right?
Oh, yeah. And he's still shaking off that turkey hangover from the holidays. We're going to ask all the hard-hitting questions today, Dave.
I'm with you.
It is a Monday. Curtis Hunt, general manager of the Prince Albert Raiders. He's also going to be swinging by a little bit later on in the show. We're going to talk some hockey, WHL, and, of course, World Juniors. We'll get to that in a little bit here. And then we may also have a special guest popping by around the time that we do our Clutch Performer, but I'm going to leave that as a tease.
Ooh,
I don't want to give too much away. Yeah.
Secret.
It gives people a reason to stick around. We got some fun coming up on the show, including Darian Durant. He's going to pop by.
Yes, we had some technical difficulties over the last couple of weeks, but that has been cleared up.
And boy, do we ever have a lot to get to with Darian. I mean, wildcard weekend is set, and a lot of storylines from yesterday that we need to dive into.
And I bet you he would probably be one that would have liked to have seen Micah Johnson retire a good decade earlier. Just throwing that out there.
Yes.
They had some battles.
Oh, yeah. He knows them well. Pats Chat, we have Max Paddock that'll be joining us from the Regina Pats. And then, of course, we got to get to all of these major stories. You mentioned it here, Dave. American defensive lineman Micah Johnson has retired, but he stays on as a member of the coaching staff with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. We had a chance to go check out that press conference earlier today. That's pretty exciting news.
Exciting. I don't know. Exciting, surprising, disappointing, shocking. There's a lot of different adjectives that fall into it because he right away and readily admitted that when he walked off the field after winning the Grey Cup in Winnipeg in November, he didn't know that was his last game. He didn't know that was going to be the last game. Even though there were some inferences amongst us media type that I wonder if this would be the last one for Micah and Trevor. Trevor came back. Micah, of course, handed in the retirement papers today.
Well, yeah, he hung up the cleats, but he grabbed the microphone, the headset.
Yeah, the headset, yeah.
And he had an opportunity to speak to media earlier today.
Just want to thank everybody for coming out. It's been a real wild ride when I think about it. Everything I've been through to get to this point. From college to how down I was, getting cut from, 3 or 4 NFL teams. here I am thinking my football career is over. I hadn't really heard much about the CFL at that point. So to my oldest son right there, I just had him. We had to start making some money eventually. I couldn't get cut anymore down there, so I decided to come to Calgary, and it was one of the best decisions I made. Even in my first few years, having to battle through the injuries, I just think it kind of prepared me for the man I am today. And I couldn't have done it without the support from my family, my mom, you know what I'm saying, my dad, rest in peace, my brothers, aunts, uncles. I just had an enormous amount of support ever since I came up here to this side of ever since I came up here to the CFL. I want to thank J.O. To this organization. When I left Calgary, it was only one place I want to come. It's a top-class organization, top-class facility, and most importantly, full of top-class people. And I feel like we got the best fans in the world, and I was just blessed to be a part of that. It's still kind of hard for me to believe it's over. It's just kind of crazy. I've identified as a football player my whole life. Even now, like the competitor in me is almost like, man, what you doing? You can still go ball. But for me, it's just about making a transition. I feel like it doesn't come often or every time where a guy can go straight from playing to coaching. I've wanted to coach for some years now. It's been conversations I've had with Mace for years, even before he even came here. Conversations I had with J.O., Kyle, a lot of different people around the organization kind of, feeling like I want to coach after I'm done playing. So to get this opportunity is amazing, and I don't take it for granted, not one bit. And I'm just blessed, and I'm very thankful. And just to think that that aspect of it's coming to a close is kind of crazy. My phone's blowing up. I didn't tell a lot of people before this, so everybody's trying to figure out what the hell happened. But it's an amazing feeling, man. I'm truly blessed, and just to be able to go straight from playing to being able to coach, still be around the game I love. I don't think it's anything I can be more passionate about than football. It's been my number one passion since I was my kid's age. So to still be able to be involved with it is a blessing.
And you heard from him right there, Micah Johnson, who has officially retired as a player with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, will be staying on as a coach. So he will be beginning his new chapter in 2026 as the franchise's defensive line coach. And it doesn't look like they're wasting any time here, Dave. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, just before we came on the air here with the SportsCage, announced that they have signed a couple of defensive players. So you got an American defensive back in Garnet Hollis Jr. from Northwestern University, and American defensive lineman Jalen Pate from Northwestern University. So it looks like he's already got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, former teammates from Northwestern, the two of them. So Micah Johnson will have his work, but it was interesting listening and watching Micah today. Again, the stories on the field, right? Like, again, last year racked up 6 sacks for the second consecutive season. He's doing what he does, right? Taking double and triple teams in the middle to allow other guys on the outside the opportunity to make plays. But off the field, too, like my favorite thing. So I'm fortunate enough to go to some schools with the team, right? And so I go to the school, and Micah Johnson is there, and there's a group of young guys. I've told this story before. And these young kids are 7, 8 years old, right? And so they're all trying to find the courage to get up to this man that is a mammoth human being, right? Over 300 pounds, right? So how do you get the courage worked up to go see him? So finally the one little guy does, asks him to sign his sign or whatever it was, and just turns around, dead sprint back to the group, and like, he's actually nice. And I'm like, that right there is Micah Johnson, right? Like, just
unless you're the opposing team on the field.
Absolutely. Like, and again, just as an athlete, seeing him flip that switch is incredible, because nicest guy, he'll give you all the time you ever need, and then that switch flips, and I wouldn't want to be on the other side of the ball, if you know what I mean, right?
No, definitely not. He can be a little intimidating.
And it was interesting, too, because I think that there was a part of him that wanted to return next year, but the one thing that he did say and tell us today was the fact that it was kind of time that he moved on to that next stage of his life, and he's been looking at coaching for a long, long time. And Philip Daniels, the speculation is that he'll be joining Ryan Dinwiddie in Ottawa. And so there was going to be an opening on the defensive line as the defensive line coach. And I think that the timing was right, that he thought, okay, listen, I can transition into the world of coaching, which is where I see myself moving forward. I can do it in Regina, where my family already lives and has roots. Why wouldn't I take this opportunity at this time? So I think that there's a lot of things that fell into place. So it may not have been on his mind at Grey Cup in Winnipeg, but when things started progressing the way they did, I think it was just too good of an opportunity that he couldn't pass up for the rest of his non-playing days.
Well, and the reality of the situation is you can't play ball for your entire life.
No.
It is a violent sport. Eventually, you do need to look at some other options. And I think given the fact that him and head coach Corey Mace have such a history together, is only going to bode well for him.
Well, Corey Mace named his son after Micah Johnson. So that's a pretty good sign right there.
You might say they get along.
Yeah, absolutely. And Coach Mace was just wrapping up his career in Calgary when he made the transition into coaching when Micah Johnson was starting out. And the stories the two of them tell is funny. Right? So in college, Micah Johnson was a running back. When he got to the Calgary Stampeders, and one thing that really stuck with me was he was talking about his dad, right? And he had been cut a number of times in the National Football League, had never heard of the Canadian Football League. The Calgary Stampeders call him up, give him an opportunity, and his dad tells him, well, then go and be in the CFL Hall of Fame then. That's what you do. And it's like, wow, that's pretty astute. And it's going to be interesting whether or not he's going to be considered. I would think that he's a shoo-in for the Plaza of Honor. But I digress.
We don't make those calls.
Yeah, exactly. And we don't want to.
No, I'm good.
When you look at Micah Johnson, right, and the field of work and just the respect that he's got, it's something else. And so, again, he alluded to that today. Arrives in Calgary. He thought he was going to play linebacker. He said, I'm a linebacker. I'm not a defensive lineman. And to go from linebacker to defensive tackle to the way that he transitioned and morphed his body and then was able to use his talent coupled with buying into the game mentally, I think that's pretty spectacular for what he did. So a lot of positives there.
A new journey ahead for the Saskatchewan Roughriders' new defensive line coach, Micah Johnson. Pretty cool.
An interesting dynamic because his protege, if you will, was Caleb Sanders, who the Riders have re-signed, right?
Right.
So now he'll be coaching Caleb on a day-to-day basis. Not to say that he wasn't already, but now it'll be more official.
I'm very interested to see what that dynamic is going to look like in the 2026 season. So shifting gears from football here, we do need to talk a little bit of hockey because obviously there's this little thing happening that's called the World Junior Hockey Championship.
Yes.
Yesterday, Czechia eliminated Canada, third straight year. But that was a heck of a game.
It was. And the one thing that I like, and again, you're going to say, boy, Dave, you were on here a week ago, really tough on the team. And yeah, I was tough on the team. And I didn't think that they were performing optimally. And the one thing you love about the World Juniors, whether it's Canada playing or anybody else, if you're a fan of the tournament, is that they're kids that are playing. They're teenagers. And teenagers make mistakes. It's not like watching an NHL game. So you could clearly see the mistake happen and, this is going to land up in the back of the net. And you could feel that, no?
Well, and I think there's even moments, like I think back to the, Haig on the penalty shot? And
when he gets two.
Call. I know. And then he did the exact same play on the second try.
Well, he had him beat the first time. Why wouldn't you go back?
I mean, that's true. But I mean, again, they are kids. And how many goaltenders in the NHL would make that mistake, right? Of tripping someone on a penalty shot. You don't see that often. You don't see penalty shots often, period.
No, that's right.
So that was, a prime example of what you're alluding to here is like, yes, these are just kids and it's gotta hurt. You know that it's tough knowing that, they are going for bronze. They could still medal, but they're not in that gold game.
One of the tough realities of sport is that you can win a bronze medal and you can win a gold medal, but you always lose a silver medal. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And to get up for that bronze medal game, I've heard is one of the toughest things to do. I was never good to get into first, second, or third, so that's why I've heard it. But I'm just saying that end of the day, that's going to be a tough game for Canada to get up for. I think it would be fantastic if they could find a way to dominate the Finns like they did in the quarterfinal and win that bronze medal today. I think it makes a lot of things good. The one thing that I haven't heard, and I've kind of been researching throughout the day today, is whether or not Gavin McKenna can play in the hockey game, because things really unraveled for Canada once that empty netter went in, right? Mm-hmm. Porter Martone kind of lost it a little bit, ended up penalized. But then Gavin McKenna got tossed from the game for abuse of an official. and was given 2 in game misconduct. So, again, that's in the final minute of play.
Yeah.
Now, I could tell you right now, if that happened in Hockey Sask, if that happens in Alberta, if that happens in Regina, if it happens in Saskatchewan, you name the center. Minor hockey, if you take that penalty, a game misconduct in the final 5 minutes of play, you're tossed. It's an automatic suspension.
Yeah, you're out.
So the IHHF has different rules, and they've got their own rules, and you can agree with some of them or not when you look at some of the penalties assessed. But I was just curious whether or not he'd be able to play for abuse of an official. Now, again, that can be taken in a lot of different connotations. Like, there was no punches thrown.
No.
It was a verbal
abuse of an official, that sounds aggressive.
Yeah. I know, isn't it?
It sounds way more aggressive than it actually was. It wasn't that egregious.
Well, he was losing his mind. He was yelling things you shouldn't yell.
Again, still kids. Still learning, but this is, again, teachable moment.
It is a teachable moment. And like I say, if you did that in minor hockey, you'd be suspended automatically. Yeah. So I wondered if it sounds like Gavin McKenna is going to be in the lineup. So just, again, different rules, different places.
And 3:30 is puck drop on that one here. So we're less than 10 minutes away. Canada, Finland for bronze, 3:30. Also, their goaltender, the Finland goaltender, his getup is incredible. The pads
are something else.
Oh, stunning. I want to know who designed those because it has just like this gorgeous landscape on it. I don't know. I thought it was absolutely incredible. He's been rocking it the whole tournament.
Do you know, okay, so I was told, I did some research on this because I'm like, wow, like stitching that in or how that works. But actually, it's kind of like a decal that you can put on the pad now. So it's not as common as it used to be. But again, sometimes when you trade teams or whatever, sometimes you'll have blue pads or whatever, right? All I'm going to say is that, like, so now if you play on a different team, you can actually get these decals done or whatever for your pads. So I would never have thought it, and I would have thought that if you put, I would think, wouldn't it be made out of plastic?
Or some type of material similar to that, like a canvas type.
But then wouldn't you slide more?
I don't know. Is that against the rules? We should check the rule book.
Well, no, but you'd want to be in control, right? That's all I'm saying, right?
They are very cool, though, and I appreciate that, that they put in that little bit of extra effort.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Oh, yeah, there it is. If you're watching the stream at sportscage.com, our YouTube channel, there's like northern lights behind all these beautiful pine trees. It just looks fantastic. I'm not cheering for him. Let me make that very clear. I still want Canada to come out with a bronze here. But for the first time since 2016 in that gold medal game, first time since 2016, we will not see Canada or USA going for gold. It's going to be Czechia and Sweden.
Can I get back to one other question that I was asked once about the Finland uniforms? And this is a number of years ago when I was broadcasting the events. And somebody asked, and again, it's a logical question if you don't know. But when you hear the answer, it makes total sense. Do you know why they put Suomi on the front of the Finland jerseys?
No.
Because that is Finnish for Finland.
Oh.
It's a Finnish name for the country of Finland, so it's their country's name on the front of their jersey. But I'm like, I really didn't even think about that. But then it was asked, and we had to find the answer, and I was like, wow.
I was too focused on the pads. I didn't even pay attention.
I know, but now you know way more than you ever wanted to know.
There we go. More useless facts from our very own Dave Thomas.
Hey, at least I'm good for... No, I'm not even good for that. I'll leave it right there.
Well, the gold medal game goes tonight, and we will see who comes out victorious in this World Junior Hockey Championship. I think we have a little bit of time here. We got to talk some NFL because Wild Card Weekend is set. Oh, I'm so sorry, Jets fans. I didn't even want to bring this up, but I have to. First team in NFL history to not record a single interception in a full season.
That's tough.
That is tough.
That's tough. It's, again, like you said, you don't want to bring that up to Jets fans. I think Jets fans
But here we are. We're still bringing it up. That's a wild stat. But yes, okay, in the NFC wildcard round, there's going to be quite a few good matchups here. Yeah. I mean, first of all, Seahawks, they're going to have the bye, right? They're going to be jumping ahead. But you have the Rams taking on the 8-9 Carolina Panthers. And earlier, if I'm not mistaken, Colson had mentioned to me, they are minus 69 in their point differential.
Yep.
Minus 69.
8-9. An 8-9 team got into the playoffs. Like, who do they think they are? The Dallas Cowboys?
You're allowed to make that joke because you're a Cowboys fan.
I'm living it.
Oh, Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah. So they come off with a 2-game skid, but they're still in the playoffs. The 49ers head into Philly to take on the Eagles. First playoff meeting since 2023 in the NFC Championship game. So the Bears are going to be hosting the Packers in a renewal of one of the oldest rivalries. I'm excited for that one.
That's going to be a great game.
Oh, this is going to be so much fun. AFC, we got the Broncos and Patriots. Let me see. They're going to be both resting next week. And then Denver is going to be hosting the lowest remaining seed in the divisional round there. So Buffalo taking on Jacksonville. Patriots and Chargers will meet again in the playoffs with Drake May and Justin Herbert.
I would not have guessed that at the start of the year. Hence, you can see my playoff picks.
I mean, no one would have been able to predict this. I don't think anybody predicted that this is how everything was going to shake out in the postseason, specifically this wild card weekend. Never in a million years.
Which team's
That's why I'm not a betting woman.
Well, which is the most surprising to you?
The Chiefs not in it?
Well,
Chiefs not in it is big, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty massive.
Of the teams in it?
You know what? I kind of, maybe it's because I don't know if you want to call them rose-colored glasses or whatever, but because I do cheer for the Bengals, I did not think that the Steelers were going to get into it, and they just got into it.
With old man Rodgers under center?
Yeah. What about you? Biggest surprise?
Jacksonville.
Yeah, that's up there.
Same.
Yeah.
I don't have faith in that team, but I have less faith in that division now. But yeah,
it's wild out there. I also feel for going back to the Steelers and that game last night. Tyler Loop. Ravens fans, I'm sorry too. Jets and Ravens fans, you got a rough Monday to start off the new year.
Yeah. That's going to be a good game, though, too.
Yeah. But the Steelers, of course, clinching the AFC North, and they're going to be hosting the Houston Texans, which is not going to be an easy job because their defense has been something else this year.
Didn't Darian Durant call Houston's defense number one? Didn't he say they were tops? Didn't he like them or no?
No.
Am I putting words in his mouth?
I brought it up, and he said on paper they're good.
Oh,
but
that's
he
right.
didn't necessarily agree. We might have to revisit that conversation a little bit later on when Darian joins the show.
That was you that said that. I forgot.
Yeah. I wasn't going to call him out, but thanks, Dave.
Yeah, you're welcome. I told you I had a role here. I didn't know what it was, but I had a role here.
And also, it is worth noting that the Olympic schedule is starting to trickle out for women's and men's hockey. So I do believe February 12th. Canada faces Czechia.
Oh, wow.
In the first game. Yeah.
Gee,
Again,
who did that?
Yeah, Colson brought that up earlier. That's a bad omen. I don't know if I like that. That's on the men's side, too, by the way.
And you know they did that for a reason. Come on.
Viewership is going to be great.
Yeah, if they play in an arena, right? They could be playing outdoors in a pond. Who knows?
Well, remains to be seen.
And the women start off against Finland on the 5th.
Finland on the 5th. Okay, so February 12th. Mark it in the calendar.
Bet you they'll have Suomi on the front of their jerseys. Just throwing that out there.
You know, that is going to be the least productive week of work around here.
Well, again, time change. I haven't looked into time change. What's time change like in Italy? They're way ahead of us, right?
Yeah, those women's games on the 5th. Sweden and Germany starts at 5:10 a.m. for us.
Okay.
Oh.
If this is going to my time, which I'm hoping it is. But Canada and Finland's actually at 2:10.
That won't be a productive day.
That will not be a productive day.
No.
You're done by then usually, though, right?
We try.
Depends on the day. We'll check back.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, like the international date line always crosses me up. But anyways, I think you're right.
I can't even keep time zones straight within Canada, so I don't blame you, man. That's what Google is for.
That's why we live in Saskatchewan. We don't touch our clocks.
Because we do it right.
Thank you.
Everybody else is doing it wrong. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's what I think anyway. If you want to join in the conversation here on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, 306-936-6262. You got a chance to scoop up some tickets to the Regina Pats game on Friday as Red Deer is in town. That's a 7 o'clock puck drop. So join in the discussion. Send us questions for any of our guests. Maybe don't give us a full storybook, but cliff notes, and we'll see what we can do to pass that along. This is the Monday edition of the Sports Cage, brought to you by Keln Solar. 35 years of experience moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kelnsolar.com to find out more for your livestock operation. Now, coming up next, Riley Schick. You might recognize that name. Regina Thunder alumni, Regina Rams. He's going to be heading south of the border here. He's going to the Dream Bowl this upcoming weekend. We'll chat with him more about that in just a minute. This is the Sports Cage on the home of local sports on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Yes, welcome back. Thanks for taking the time. Teagan Witko here, your Monday host of the Sports Cage, alongside Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders, and Colson's with us as well. But now, heading out onto the Western Pizza guest hotline, joining us is the one and only Riley Schick. Well, first of all, Riley, Happy New Year. Thanks for taking the time.
Yes, Happy New Year to you guys as well, and thank you for the opportunity.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, you got a big week ahead of you, Riley, from Lumsden, Saskatchewan to Dallas, Texas this weekend for the Dream Bowl. You've got to be feeling pretty excited, hey?
Yeah, it's exciting and nerve-wracking. You know, it's my first time going down there to play football in general, so I never played any football selects growing up and never got that opportunity, but I'm really excited for it.
Well, and this really is an all-star showcase. You know, you have an opportunity to, play with like-minded individuals, be in front of scouts. How does competing there, what does it mean to you professionally to have this opportunity?
I think it means a lot. I think that knowing that there's a lot of eyes that will watch me down there, not just CFL scouts, but NFL scouts as well, making sure that I just do the right things at the right time.
I mentioned earlier, Riley, that at a combine, right, you train differently, right? Because you want to make sure that you maximize the exposure and the drills that are happening. Have you done anything different in your training for this opportunity?
I think a big thing is just mobility, because we haven't played for a couple months now, and I'm over those nicks and bruises from the season. So just making sure my mobility is good, because when you train for the combine, yeah, exactly, you're doing drill specific stuff. You're not in like fluid movements all the time. So getting ready to go down to an opportunity where there's 2 practices a day for 2 days and then a game, and not really a combine, so to say. So you have to be really ready to go and play a game like it's regular season.
How do you anticipate that preparation going, and how much experience do you have with the American game? You talk with a lot of American O-linemen that come to Canada. They talk about the biggest adjustment is the yard off the line of scrimmage. Now you're going to see that face-to-face American-style offensive line play when you get down there.
Yeah, I think it'll be a big change for that 1 yard. I'm excited to do it. I've been practicing with Brett Jones a little bit on what it's like, and maybe like what are some of the biggest things that he noticed when he was down there. So that's helped out a lot. And as a center, being able to get that snap hand back as fast as I can will be a challenge for sure.
Tell me about Brett Jones and working with him. Again, I'm a waiver night just like him. But I hear great things that he does off the field. I knew what a dynamic athlete he was on it.
Yeah, he's a great guy. He comes to every workout, every running session, and every practice, and he does every workout, running thing, drill with us. Not just to show us that he is also human, but to show us that it's not as hard as it may seem. Like he was in the NFL. Yes, he is a very gifted athlete, but at the end of the day, he is like, we're all the same. We're all an O-lineman trying to get better day in and day out, just like he is. He's studying for his doctorate all day long, and then comes and does a 2-hour workout with a bunch of college athletes. So it's great having him around, whether it's his work ethic he's showing us or little nitbits of information every now and then.
So can you take me through the Dream Bowl process? How did you go from getting identified and getting the opportunity to being told, hey, you're coming down, to now I would assume having some playbooks in your hands?
Yeah, so there's 2 big bowl games, I guess, for athletes like this. There's the College Gridiron Showcase and also in Texas, and they're both at the same time, and then the Dream Bowl as well. So I was talking with my agent one day, and he said, hey, you've been selected to play in the Dream Bowl. It's a great opportunity. You get more eyes on you. And in some cases, the CFL will take it as its higher competition as well, because it is athletes like a couple D linemen from Baylor and like some big D1 schools. So it's a great opportunity. And yeah, just getting ready for all the playbooks. They're all similar. I was on the Riders for 2 years as well when I was on the Thunder on the PR. So I got a good chance to see what a pro playbook is like that and how to handle myself. So that was definitely a great opportunity, especially now.
So if you're a running back, obviously you want to accumulate yards, you want to do your blocking in the backfield, you maybe want to catch a pass out of the backfield as well. If you're a receiver, same deal. Defensive back, you're looking to break up plays. What do you as an offensive lineman need to do to stand out so that you get those eyes looking at you and getting favorable reviews?
Big thing is keeping the pocket, making it look like a bowl. As a center and interior lineman, I need to keep him at the line and make sure the quarterback's got room in front of his face. And if it comes to the run game, I need to get some knockback. I need to own the line of scrimmage, especially because there's not that yard there. You got to get moving pretty quick.
At some point, does this become just another game? Do you know if that makes sense? Like, at some point, does muscle memory just take over? Okay, I don't have to worry about making this impression. I just need to worry about the job in front of me.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people can get caught up in the, oh my God, I have so many people looking at me. And I've noticed that recently too, like it is just another opportunity. I had how many of them when I played this last season, the last 2 seasons, the last 7 seasons of post-secondary football, like no matter what, people are watching you. So if you take it at that, it is just another game with fans in the crowd, football on the football field, and I'm get another chance to play a game that not everybody gets to play.
Take me through. Okay, so you're in Lumsden. At what point did you fall in football or fall in love with the game, get exposed to the game? How did that transpire?
Yeah, so all my friends had played football growing up, but I never played any till grade 9. We played bantam. We created a bantam team out in Lumsden. I was always over the weight limit. Didn't want to go up in an age group. I was a big baseball kid. So I had played prep baseball. I trained baseball 6 days a week. And then finally the Thunder were scouting actually somebody else that was on my team in Lumsden and said, hey, that kid's pretty big. We should talk to him for a little bit. I got asked to go out to their invitational camps. And then after the last inter-squad scrimmage, I got an invite to the team. So that was quite a wild ride. My whole life, I thought I was going to go be playing baseball in the States, and then I got on with the Regina Thunder.
Riley Schick, I want to have a big baseball conversation with you someday because I think we could talk. We could share some stories. What is it about Sasky kids, though, and their ability to just be big, tough, and fantastic offensive linemen? You talk Brett Jones, you talk Logan Ferland, you talk even go all the way back to Gene Mikowski. Is it in our water or what?
I think it's just that Saskatchewan grit of it doesn't matter who's in front of me, who's beside me, or like you're going to get the job done. The job never goes unfinished in Saskatchewan, no matter who you are, whether you're a farmer, you work in the city, you're new here, it just gets engraved in your blood. So it's no matter what, if you're injured, you're bumped, you're bruised, like you still go out on the field, you play your best, and you get the job done.
Would you say there's that one player that you look up to, Riley? Like that one person that you really want to model your game after? Does anyone stick out?
Yeah, there's probably 2, and it's Logan Ferland and Dan Clark, which is weird to say because they're kind of a little bit different than each other, obviously. But Ferland was my vet my first year on the Thunder. That was his 5th year, so I got to meet him and kind of see all of the hard work that he puts in to try and get to the Riders, and then he started his first year. And then Dan Clark, I model more my game after because he's kind of like me. We both got short arms. We're both told that we weren't tall enough all the time. We've both been told that we weren't good enough to stay on the team. Both got told that we weren't good enough to be all-stars and stuff, and yet Dan Clark had, in my mind, a Hall of Fame career, Grey Cup champion, all-stars all the time, and he was told he couldn't do it. So,
to me, when you mentioned Logan Ferland, I said that perhaps he was an unsung hero on the Grey Cup champion Saskatchewan Roughriders this year because selflessly, I think if you asked him, he'd say, I'd prefer to play guard, but he moved to center when there was an injury early in training camp, and he really took over the role. But it fascinated me the number of intricacies that there went into. Again, you're calling out reads, you're calling out what you see, but then you also got to snap the football. And if you do it right, nobody cares, but when you do it wrong, everybody does. Can you tell me about some of the intricacies of playing center and especially how that position progresses as you move up in years and experience?
Yeah, I think there's actually a lot of intricacies. When I was on playing high school football, I was just happy if the ball hit the quarterback's hands sometimes. But when you get to post-secondary, you're not just making sure you know where the play's going and what could happen, but you actually have to read the defense. Is a linebacker 2 steps to the left more than he should be? Well, what's going to happen? Is he going to drop into coverage, or is his tendency to blitz? And then once you go to like a level after that, what Brett's taught me a lot, and Dan Clark actually taught me a lot, is where's the safety? Is the safety in the middle of the field? Is he over on the other hash? Is there two safeties? Is there a safety that's rolling down? When we sub block, is the DB going to spin and the safety come down? Are they going to track a man across? And that all has to play into our heads because it changes who's in our count for who's in the box. So there's like a lot of intricacies for each defense you play, and the rules change every week.
Very true. Now, obviously, you've been around the University of Regina Rams program. You won a Hardy Cup championship, and then this year obviously didn't end the way that you wanted to. Did you learn more this year, though? Or did you learn just as much as you did the year before?
I would have to say I think I learned more that we lost because of the pain of losing. You know, on the Thunder, we won a lot, which is awesome. And the only games we really ever lost was either to the Hilltops or a playoff game. And then losing that one to the Huskies in Saskatoon, it was a tough one, especially knowing it was my last post-secondary game that I could play. I have no more years of eligibility left. This is so that's also like a factor of, hey, like you kind of have to perform pretty good here, otherwise we're going to work for the rest of your life. So it was a big one to learn from.
So how do you view this opportunity when you go down and play in the Dream Bowl? Is this an opportunity to lay out and maybe create a future in football? Is this an opportunity to showcase and keep all doors open? How do you approach this, and what do you anticipate getting out of it?
I think it's an opportunity to keep all doors open. Obviously, you never want to close any doors, especially when it's football is a means to an end. I think the Rams do a very good job of teaching their players that football doesn't go on forever. There's a time where it ends and you must move on in life. So keeping all doors open with all eyes just open, making sure I take it all in, because I remember playing in the national championship with the Thunder, and Dan Clark said, like, hey, when you're in this game, take it all in. Look at the crowd, feel it. I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that for sure. And you get caught up in the moment, and of course I didn't. And I look back at it, and you're like, wow, I wish I would have, like, walked onto the field in the pregame and did a little walk around and take in all the scenery, because you remember it, but the parts I remember are the plays that went bad, not the plays that went good now. So if I can take it all in and just keep all doors open, that'll be the best thing.
So is there a big Schick contingent headed south to Texas to get out of this winter, or is you just dialed in going yourself?
Just dialed in, going in.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I imagine you had some time to watch some NFL football over the weekend. Is your team still in it?
It is. I was listening to you guys talk about it. The Steelers made it in. Old man Aaron Rodgers. Old man Aaron
calling me out. That's awesome.
So how do you feel about their chances?
I think there's chances. I don't know. It's the Steelers. They make it to the playoffs every year, but you never know how far they're going to go. And yeah, I usually only watch the Steelers games, and usually it's just a snidbit. I'm a big film guy, and I never watched a whole lot of football growing up, so watching football now is a little different, especially when you're an O-lineman, because you're trying to watch what the O-line's doing all the time. Half the time you never watch the actual game, so it's hard to watch an NFL game live now.
Well, yeah, you're looking for much different things than the average fan would be.
Exactly.
See, and that's amazing just how your perspective would change, right? I completely watch a football game totally different than what Luke Mulliner does or you do. So what stands out? The physicality, does that, or the process, the technique, or just understanding what maybe the play evolution is?
I think it's just watching. I find it tough because I always zone in on one player. Okay. Usually, whether it's a guard or center for each play, and I just watch to see what they do, like technique-wise. Usually, there's a lot of intricacies in O-line play. If the D lineman comes out with two hands, can he swat two hands, get underneath, and reach block him? Is it a zone play and he has to stay underneath? So I usually just pick one person to watch and see how that goes. The Miami Dolphins center was interesting to watch this year, just because he gets so much good pad leverage. So it's awesome to watch him.
Well, now I'm going to be watching the games this weekend much differently. Appreciate that.
And I'm going to be watching what I say about Aaron Rodgers now.
Riley Schick, I really hope that you do, in fact, take that time when you're down in Dallas this weekend and just soak it all in. It is so well-deserved, and all the best of luck this weekend.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Really appreciate the time. Riley Schick, of course, he is off to the Dream Bowl in Dallas, Texas this weekend, and always love having some homegrown talent on the show. Now, we are going to take a quick break because we're going to go a little off script here. Dave, I think we have a special guest standing by, so we're going to get to that here in just a moment. I'm not going to say who it is yet, but by the way, you can always join in on the conversation on the Prairie Land Rentals text line, 306-936-6262. Any questions for our guests, either the one that we're having coming up next here or later on in the show, feel free to chime in on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. This is the Sports Cage on the home of local sports on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Welcome back to the Monday edition of the Sports Cage. Teagan Witko with you. Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders, also in the room, and Colson Schultz keeping us on the air and
Our
on the
special
stream.
guest is very popular.
Is it?
Yeah.
Sorry, are they?
Wow.
I might have just
Wow.
given away what we have coming up here in just a little bit.
Goldfish.
I tried to peel them away from the cubicles in the back, and
See, here's the thing. This is a little inside football, but for those behind the scenes, Colson came running down the hallway because we only had 90 seconds there in between us going off the air and coming back on the air. So this guy is sprinting to go see if our guest is ready. I'm tempted to give him the clutch performer, but I know he will not allow me to do that later on. Yeah, he's already shaking his head. He's like, heck no, Teagan.
You know what's impressive is that Colson's able to talk right now. No, I'm not kidding, right? Like, if you have ever tried to run somewhere and then control your breathing and so that you're not huffing and puffing, right? Mm-hmm. It's extremely hard to do, especially when you're cognizant of the fact that you don't want to do that. Colson just hops on. Oh, it's all good.
It's all good. He's chill. He's fine.
Wow.
it wasn't that far of a sprint, but okay.
Hey, I've been there. I'm sure Dave, as doing sidelines many a times in his life, you understand what it's like to have to book it to your next interview and try to keep your composure.
The one that's famous in the world of broadcasting, ladies and gentlemen, taking you fully behind the curtains, we call the dead air dash. That's when you have forgot to leave the computer on or on automatic, and you have gone, and all of a sudden there is dead silence and alarms sounding everywhere because there is dead air.
Yeah, because once we hit a certain length of time and we have no audio on the air, we do have alarms that go off in this building. It's terrifying the first time you ever experience it because you're not sure what in the world is going on. But yeah, everybody runs to the rooms. Everybody runs to the studio.
Our neighbors in the building over there had a fire alarm test one day when I was sitting here editing, and I thought it was the radio alarm. So I book it over there, checking the radios, and I'm like, no, text our engineer. Yeah, the neighbors are just doing fire tests. I'm like, cool.
Thanks for the heads up.
Wow.
Glad I sprinted for nothing.
Wow.
Thanks for the heads up, guys.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to know something else I've learned from the text line?
What's that?
I learned something new today, and I'd like to thank Trevor for it. We were talking about the Finnish pads, and I thought they were decals or something that they put on the pads, and they're called skins. I knew that. Skins, yeah, and it's similar material as the pads. So you don't slide on the face of the pad, so it doesn't make any difference, right?
Oh.
Because you're also sliding on your knees, too.
Right.
So,
and
but yeah.
Crofty on the YouTube pointed out there's Santa Claus on that would be his left pad.
I didn't even... Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, so we're talking about Rimpinen, by the way. It's on the stream right now, sportscage.com or our YouTube. I did not even notice him flying through the sky there. His little sleigh. Well, look at that. All the intricacies. Thank you, Crofty. Appreciate you pointing that out.
Hey, speaking of, he's kind of lit in a couple of goals. Canada's leading 2-1. Did you want to know that? Spoiler alert? 13 minutes to go in the first period.
You know what, Dave? Maybe people were PVRing it and didn't want to know. It's fine.
It happens.
It's 2026. People are getting notifications. I'm just bugging. I don't know. Our guest is still wandering around the building right now. Do we want to do the sports ticker real quick, maybe? Sure. Okay. I know I'm putting Colson on the spot here, but I figured, you know what? Let's dive into the sports ticker, and then we can, hopefully get our guest on before the 4 o'clock news here.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Reliance Heath Water Heater Rentals. Bundle and save with Reliance Heath. Rent a new water heater and softener together and get $400 cash back. Call on Reliance Heath today.
13 seasons in the CFL, three-time Grey Cup champion Micah Johnson has officially retired as a player with the green and white, and he will be stepping into a coaching role with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, the new defensive line coach. World Junior Hockey Championship, of course, bronze medal game is happening right now between Canada and Finland, and then the gold medal game will be going tonight at 7:30, Sweden versus Czechia. Saskatchewan Curling Championships in Melville. Women's draws started at 8 this morning. The final ones will be going at 7 tonight, and Saskatchewan Men's Curling Championship also continues today as well. In the NHL, a couple of Canadian teams in action this evening. The Red Wings travel to Ottawa to take on the Senators at 6:30, and then the Kraken are in Calgary to face the Flames. Our SportsCage.com poll right now is an interesting one. What do you think is preventing Canada from winning gold medal at the World Junior Hockey Championship? Now, you can chime in on our poll right now at sportscage.com, and I just kind of want to see where our results are sitting at right now. Let me see. So a couple of options if you wanted to chime in. Nations around the world are improving and have narrowed the talent gap. That is the leader right now in responses. Lack of discipline following by second. Yeah, that's definitely been a topic of conversation at this World Juniors, specifically for Canada.
Well, especially late in the third period when the Canadians took a pair of penalties that were tough.
Totally unnecessary as well.
Okay, you can say that if you want.
Okay, well, that's just my opinion.
I'll just say I think the penalty in the face-off circle where they use their hand, right? It's a delay of game.
Yeah, the delay of game call.
You know that rule probably just slipped, but still, that's a tough one.
I know. Again, we got to remember, still kids.
Yeah.
The other two options, lack of talent, lack of heart. So what do you think? You can chime in by voting on our sportscage.com poll.
Isn't that harsh?
Why are you laughing?
That's harsh. Lack of heart?
Did you make this poll?
I did not.
Oh.
Lack of heart.
Well, it's certainly not a lack of talent.
No, I don't think it is.
And I don't put it on the coaches either. I mean, it would be nice to beat Czechia.
It would
maybe
be.
next year.
It would be.
So what do you think? Let us know on the sportscage.com poll. You can also text us anytime on the Prairie Land Rentals text line. Whatever you need to get the job done, Prairie Land Rentals probably has it. Also an official Husqvarna snow thrower dealer. Deal with the owner at 600 Albert Street. Everybody who texts us today as well, entered to win some Regina Pats tickets because they are going to be hosting Red Deer on Friday night at the Brandt Center. So that should be a fun game.
Should be a good one. Yeah. And it'll be a day after the WHL trade deadline.
Yes, Thursday.
Yes.
That's when that's coming up. Yeah, 7 o'clock.
7 p.m. Saskatchewan time.
And you know what? When you look at WHL trade deadlines, you know that there's definitely anxiety around some of these players right now. It's not an easy time of year.
No.
Curtis Hunt is maybe going to chime in on that a little bit later on in the show.
He knows.
Well, he would certainly have an idea. General Manager, Prince Albert Raiders.
Built championship teams at a lot of different levels.
Yeah, the guy might know what he's doing. So we'll have a conversation with him a little bit later on. And I think we're also going to have our next guest join us on the other side of 4 o'clock.
Okay,
possibly.
I'm ready.
Is that a thumbs up from Colson there? Okay, he's just going to say yes and then hope that he's not wrong. That's what I'm going to go with anyway. In the meantime, I think we do have to take a break pretty quick here. Ish. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to ask you one more question here.
Okay, I will try to answer.
Team Canada.
Yes.
World Juniors. Mm-hmm. What is the player that stood out to you that maybe surprised you a little bit?
Surprised me a little bit. I
will say Parekh is up there.
Yeah, Calgary's got a good one. He's drafted by the Flames.
Yeah. Again. Oh, I know. I live with a Flames fan. Believe me, I've heard all about it.
But it's interesting, though, whether or not because you can shine at the World Junior level, and that doesn't automatically translate into an NHL career.
Yeah.
And I'm curious what that might look like a little bit before him, because he doesn't play the most structured game in his own defensive zone. And that's a big thing in the National Hockey League. But I know I'm going to sound homerish and everything, but
I know who you're going to say.
Cole Reshny,
Macklin, Saskatchewan.
I knew he was good. When you play in Victoria, we don't get a lot of exposure to the Victoria Royals in Saskatchewan or Regina, but he's played with a lot of poise, I thought. And he took the penalty, and it wasn't a great penalty that he took either last night, right? Again, in that instance of the game, we called for goaltender interference. You have to avoid the goaltender in all. Like, there's no way that you can bump him at all. But saying that, again, just his poise is really, again, good face-off circle guy. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. And I mean, you can watch the team right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, bronze medal matchup happening as we speak. But we do need to get to our news here. On the other side of 4 o'clock, we will speak with Curtis Hunt, and then we'll also have our special guest popping in. But this is the SportsCage on the home of local sports on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Appreciate you taking the time. I'm your Monday host of the SportsCage, Teagan Witko, alongside voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders, Dave Thomas, Colson Schultz, keeping us on the radio and on our stream at sportscage.com or YouTube channel as well. You can always hit us up on X if you'd like. Now, we were talking about the green and white a little bit earlier here today, Dave, because American defensive lineman Micah Johnson has retired as a player, but he's not going anywhere, sticking around as a coach with the green and white.
How cool was that announcement with his kids and his wife there? It was pretty neat.
It was pretty special. And if you missed his comments from the press conference, that's such a media availability. I always get in trouble when I call it press conference because we don't press anything anymore.
Oh.
It's media availability. But yes, you can go back, watch it in podcast form anytime or on our YouTube stream as well. As alluded to previously, we have a special guest in the building, I guess you could say. A couple of wonderful individuals from the Saskatchewan Roughriders brought in the Grey Cup. There it is. If you're watching the stream at sportscage.com, you can see it. It's hanging out here in our SportsCage studio. That thing smells like beer, Dave.
Yeah, that's the aroma of victory, I believe. I think that's what you call that.
I like it. It's a little bit, I don't want to say banged up. It's seen some life.
This is the closest that I've been to the Cup since we were in Winnipeg. And actually, you want to know what? There's one common question that I get asked all the time is, what does it feel like holding the Cup?
How do you describe it?
I haven't held it.
Oh.
I thought it was too superstitious. Like, it's a disrespect I felt to the players if I held the Cup.
Understandable.
Because they're the ones that did it. But having said that, sitting beside it right now, I do have goosebumps.
We just took a picture with it.
Yeah.
You don't have to be too humble.
But no, it's just, it's pretty cool. And the cool part was the memories that I've got of the Grey Cup, right? Like, Grey Cup's Sunday was a blur. The parade was amazing, and just seeing how Rider Nation just wanted a piece of the Cup was incredible. And what I think is really cool, because we've just found out it's official, the Cup is going to be going around the province in February. So if you're listening in Lumsden, if you're in Saskatoon, if you're in Kenaston, if you're in Prince Albert, I'm just speculating. But
just throwing it out there.
The Cup is going to be coming somewhere near you.
I feel like it's already been making some pretty impressive rounds.
Oh, 100%.
Almost every time I go on social media, here it is, there it is, people posting pictures with it, because this is, I mean, the players earned it. Let's not kid ourselves here. But we all kind of feel like we earned a little piece of it.
We're Rider Nation.
Yeah.
And again, right, you talk to the players. The first thing Trevor Harris said, right? Like, I get to share this with the whole province. This is cool. And that's kind of what they were doing. And so, again, there is going to be a formal tour that is coming in February. So it's not just going to be I missed it in my community. You're going to be able to see it on the Riders website. We'll tell you where it's going to be at and everything. And it's a good time. And again, the last time, again, I go back to 2013. And like, I got goosebumps. Why? It's a trophy and it's sitting beside me.
Because it hits different in Saskatchewan, Dave. This is number 5.
Yeah, I know. I was not alive for all 5, just so you know. But yeah, it's so cool. And I just really appreciate the fact that sharing with the province is cool. You don't get that everywhere.
And the off season is only so long, so they need to be strategic about this. They need to make sure that everything is mapped out later. It's not an easy gig. I can't imagine Ariel, who I imagine is a bit of a keeper of the Cup, and she's an amazing communications person over there with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I imagine she's had her work cut out for her.
Could you imagine the number of requests she would get from the players? Because it's a big locker room.
I would hate to see her email inbox.
Yeah.
That would give me anxiety.
I would like to see the over-under on who's had the Cup the most. Because I think you could get some pretty good odds.
Yeah, maybe.
I've got some pretty good ideas of, like,
And the creativity of what they do with the cup too, because I've seen a couple of. I'm pretty sure it was AI generated, but I'm not. Don't quote me on that. Some very pretty looking lattes with like the art on top of it. I think that was Jorgen Hughes, right? Yeah. He posted that Christmas Day, I want to say.
I believe Logan Ferland had poutine out of the cup. So.
I mean, you have to.
Well, I don't know if you have to the way it smells, but I'm just saying you could.
It can be cleaned.
Of course.
It's fine.
Of course. So what would you do? Okay, so okay, you know what? We have sent these fine folks out of the room. Ariel is not listening. You get the day for a cup. Or the cup. You get the day for a cup?
Day,
Thank you.
The cup for a day.
Good English, Dave. You get the cup for a day. What are you doing?
That is a difficult one. I mean, I don't want to steal the poutine idea, but I feel like that's got to be up there. You know what? I need to use it as a dip bowl.
Like
with deep fried pickles.
And dip.
Like a good solid buffalo dip. It's all about the dip, Dave.
All right.
What are you doing, Colson?
I don't know. I wasn't expecting this question.
Way to be prepared for the program.
Yeah,
we ran through this in dress rehearsal, don't you know?
Got to keep him on his toes.
Yeah, I don't have enough of that already. Like, honestly, just getting to go around with it, like just have a regular day, but just bringing the Grey Cup with you, I think would be really fun. And just having people be like, what? You have the Grey Cup with you? I think that'd just be really fun.
You wouldn't eat anything out of it?
I probably would at some point, but I also just know, because I'm from a big family, and if I just showed up to like family dinner with the Grey Cup, they'd be like, what? Excuse me? You didn't tell us this was coming. Hello. Little communication would be nice. So
I like that. I like that. That's a safe answer.
Yeah.
We
don't want to get anyone in trouble.
That would be extremely selfish and not want to do anything but go for a round of golf with it. But there's the other part of me that would, again, I sucked as a football player. Like, let's face it. Like, I had opportunities, and if I'd ever studied a game plan, listened to a game, it's a long story. But I'd actually
better?
Well, easy. All I'm going to say is that everybody in Saskatchewan probably could tell you that story of someone that made a difference, right?
Yeah.
And I'd really want to go back to my community, right? So where I grew up in Weyburn, I'd go back there. And again, I had a football coach, very influential teacher. There are some community leaders that, again, volunteered their time so that I could, mess around on a hockey rink in the winter or whatever. I just want to share it with them because, again, having that ability to share with somebody would be pretty cool.
Well, now you make me feel like a jerk because here I am saying I'm going to pour buffalo sauce in it and
you did
eat
that
fried
on your
pickles.
own. What did Colson say? Never mind. I'll just leave that there.
Ouch. Yeah. Official tour. That's going to be coming in February. I feel like we need a slightly longer off season just to tour this thing around all over the place.
There's some that would dispute that. There's a season coming, just so you know. Anyways.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. But yes, more information will be coming down the pipe here as we learn more. You'll be the first to hear about it from us. The Grey Cup making its rounds across the province this off season. So look forward to more of that in February.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think we're going to take a quick break, Colson. Okay. We'll be back on the other side here, so hang tight. This is the Sports Cage 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. We were talking about this a little bit earlier on, the dead air dash, and just like some of the inside baseball stuff that we talk about off the air. I think the Grey Cup is in the room here with us in the Sports Cage studio on 12th and Rose. During the regular season, I do the sideline reporting, and I book it up the stairs. Many, many, many flights of stairs to get onto the halftime report with 3 Down Nation's Justin Dunk. So I can certainly appreciate this first clutch performer to my core. I'm not sure if you saw this over the weekend, but there was a video that went viral just showcasing how reporters really do have to hustle. Laura Rutledge at the Sugar Bowl finishes her sideline hit with a player, books it across the field, and then gets up on the desk, does the halftime report. What was her 40 again? Did someone actually do the math?
I can't confirm if it was an actual 40 time, but the tweet said it was a 4:49.
A 4:49? Okay,
which is
Laura.
Pretty quick.
All right, Laura. 45 seconds from the post-game hit to the start of their halftime report on the desk. That is just, again, sort of like inside baseball type of clutch performer, but I really appreciate the hustle that Laura Rutledge has got there, and she's a great broadcaster, too.
You know what's incredible about that? You know how when you can get that enhanced feed, sometimes for football games, and they show the speed in like kilometers or miles an hour that the athlete is running. That would have been interesting to see there.
Why'd they turn it on? Well, I guess it's the Sugar Bowl, so they probably didn't have all the bells and whistles.
I also bet she doesn't have a tracker in her pads like all the athletes do.
True.
Well, we should change that. Why not?
True.
Why not, Colson?
See, I think that would be fun to do once. I feel like I'd be like Michael Scott, though, on The Office. You know the episode when he's trying to run and get the traffic camera?
Yeah.
Get his time?
Yeah, see how fast he can run.
Yeah.
Okay, who's your clutch performer, Dave?
Mine?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to be sentimental again. How can we not go Micah Johnson?
Yeah.
13 years, again, moves him and his family to Saskatchewan to be a part of the organization, to be a part of the community. Now is retired, announced that earlier today, and of course is going to be joining the coaching staff, which, boy, I tell you, if you want to have a good time, go to the Rider coach's room. That would be a good time right now because the way that Coach Mace and Micah Johnson click and connect on a personal level and a football level is really, truly dynamic to see. So there you go.
And they have a lot of history too, right, during their time in Calgary. So that is going to be a huge piece added to the Riders coaching staff in 2026. Colson, what you got?
I got a few. So,
let's go.
Wow, what is this, anyhow? Jeez.
I think I know one of them.
Let's first go with, so we all know now, we've talked about it a few times, Steelers snuck into the playoffs.
Yep.
There was a reporter who asked Mike Tomlin if the kick had gone in, like what would his feelings be? And this was his response.
Make that kick, season's over, comes to a screeching halt, and missing that kick and the winner going on.
You know how it is. If my aunt had male parts, she'd be my uncle. All right?
Say what you want about Tomlin.
Another Tomlinism. I thought that was quintessential. Another season of Tomlin. Figured that made sense. Also, shout out to Sid the Kid. Had the overtime winner last night. I figured that would be another worthy clutch performer.
It's the captain. Crosby right in. He scores! The Penguins win! The Penguins win! Sidney
What was that, his
Crosby
50th overtime point?
50th overtime point, most in NHL history.
Clutch.
Go back out
Yeah,
to center.
I didn't mean to get that again. That's my bad.
Carlson, fresh
I mean,
on.
I'd
There's
watch
the
it
man.
again. It's a pretty impressive moment in
It
Sid
is.
the Kid's career.
And then my last one, did you know there's 2 quarterbacks in NFL history with back-to-back 14-win seasons?
14 win season.
14 win seasons.
Back to back.
Back-to-back. Can you guess them?
Tom Brady.
Correct. Tom Brady in 2003, 2004.
So Tom Brady is one.
Oof.
The other one did it this year and last year.
Oh, this year and last year. Oh, wow.
Also did it on 2 different teams, which Brady obviously didn't do.
No, Brady did not do. I know this. I know the answer.
One, Sam Darnold.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
Which
right.
last week he joined the ranks of like Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Brady times 2 for 13 win back-to-back seasons, but now it's just the 2 of them.
Wow.
And again, he did it on 2 different teams. So
That's impressive.
That's even more impressive.
yeah.
Wow.
So why did they pick JJ McCarthy? We can ask Arash that tomorrow.
That's a good one. Yeah.
His
Good
poor
call.
Vikings.
Well, we'll get the answers then. Okay, any more clutch performers?
Grey Cup.
The Grey Cup.
Got any?
It's in
No?
the house.
Okay.
Nothing?
Clutch.
I mean, speaks for itself.
Devon Campbell's fumble. I think that's what it's saying.
Yeah. That's up there.
Yeah?
That's up there. That was clutch.
I don't want to put words in its mouth.
No, that's right.
Fair. I shouldn't do that.
I'm not in the business of doing that. Come on, boys. Okay, those are your clutch performers. It is brought to you by Nick's Service in Emerald Park. We are going to take a quick break, and I do believe on the other side we're going to have a chat with Curtis Hunt, General Manager of the Prince Albert Raiders, so you're going to want to stick around for that. This is the Sports Cage on the home of local sports on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. It's Teagan Witko, your Monday host of the Sports Cage, alongside your voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, Dave Thomas. Joining us now on the Western Pizza guest hotline, Curtis Hunt, General Manager of the Prince Albert Raiders. First of all, Happy New Year, Curtis. Thanks for doing this.
Hey, Teagan, thanks very much. Happy New Year's to you and your listeners.
So why don't we just get right down to it? I want to talk a little bit of World Juniors with you. Michael Schick, obviously Czechia goaltender, Prince Albert Raider goaltender as well. What did you like to see in his game so far during this World Junior tournament?
Well, you know what? I've liked Michael. I got to see him at the Halinka tournament in Edmonton a couple of years ago, and he had a little bit of an off tournament in Texas at the U18s I think he ended up as our third. And when Michael came into Prince Albert, he comes to the rink every day with a tremendous attitude. He's got a tremendous work ethic. And, as you can see by our stats, in the league stats, he's among the best in our league, and he's certainly showed it. I think it was a tough start for him against Canada, and maybe a couple of those were C&I singles. I guess you could argue that either way, but I think he's played confident. I think he probably want one back from last night. But that being said, in the end, he gets the win for his country. And I'm excited for him. A little bit disappointed as a Canadian, but I'm excited for him and Matches Mann, our defenseman, who also is representing his country.
It's also got to feel pretty cool to see that Prince Albert Raiders logo on an international stage, right? I mean, he was rocking that Raiders face mask the entire time so far.
You know what? That's been the best. I've had more calls and texts about his mask over the last 3 weeks as they've gone through exhibition and, of course, tournament play. But, it looks good on him.
Curtis, sometimes it can be a little bit of a roll of the dice when you're dealing with import players. Is he what you expected he would be when he arrived in Prince Albert?
So you said it can be. It is always a roll of the dice. We put a lot of pressure on those players when they come over, and certainly between time, food, style, language, even ice surface in some cases, sometimes it takes those guys a year or two to just acclimate and feel comfortable. But what we did know about Michael is his tremendous work ethic. And then once you get to know the kid, he's a good morning person every day. He's in the rink early. You just know he's going to have success. He just puts himself in that position. So for us, maybe some calculated risk, I think, but that's probably the same for everybody as they go through this draft.
When we talk about the World Juniors, Curtis Hunt, you've got such a great perspective, having worked with Hockey Canada and the program of excellence and knowing the ins and outs. From the outside looking in, there seems like there's a ton of pressure. What's it like from the inside? Do you feel that weight of the nation?
It's funny. I was part of that team that with Jonathan Taves that shot those shootouts in the semifinal against the U.S. I was on the bench for that. I was more nervous for some reason or anxious watching the Finland-Sweden shootout than I was on the bench. I think when you're in the moment, the players are most comfortable on the ice. The coaches are most comfortable behind the bench. You've prepared. You have elite players that pick up, systems and changes in the game so quickly. And you really stay in the moment, and I think that's what's neat about it. I think from the outside, and what I could share with fans who are, looking at it, and maybe a little disappointed today as Canada plays for bronze, is the margin of error is so small. It's a post here, a crossbar there, maybe a missed call somewhere throughout the game. Like, to win, I feel so fortunate and lucky to had success at those tournaments, and my heart breaks for those kids because they give it everything they have. But you're competing, and that's the best part of it, I guess. And it comes down to what 5 seconds can win or cost you a hockey game in those tournaments, because the parity is fantastic.
Well, and yesterday's loss stings, especially for Team Canada. Czechia has Canada's number for whatever reason that is. But from your professional take, Curtis, what do you think is preventing Canada from winning the gold medal at the World Junior Hockey Championship? This is actually a question that we've turned over to our SportsCage.com listeners. What's your take on that?
Well, I'm going to leave that to the listeners, I think. That's fair. You know what? I think the easy thing to do is to sit at 10,000 feet, and we can cite a lot of different things you see throughout the event. As I just mentioned, the margin of victory and error and success in that thing is so small, and the parity in our game now is greater than it's ever been. And we have different champions throughout the years. I know 2020 was the last time we were in a gold medal game. So I don't think I'll speculate on that. I'm a proud Canadian, and I wear my jersey when I watch. And like I said, I feel for those kids because they feel the pressure of a nation probably more than any other nation. when they do put on the maple leaf.
Well, Curtis, I feel bad because this is our first time talking, and I totally put you on the spot. So why don't we focus?
Don't at all. Actually, no, I met you in Moose Jaw.
Hey, listen, why don't we focus on the positive? What did you like about the Team Canada roster?
Well, I thought their forward group was very good. They moved pucks. The power play was phenomenal throughout. Their penalty kill was very good throughout. So special teams. I just thought 5-on-5. Maybe they chased the game a little bit, and I thought they had tremendous depth. I thought he was able to adjust his lines very seamlessly. Which again reflects back on the attitude of the players and the quality of the players and how they played. So, again, every time they put on the jerseys, those kids play with pride and they take the pressure of a nation, and they should feel. I'd love to see them have success today as they prepare for bronze, but regardless, it's a tremendous honor for all those kids to be part of it.
Well, speaking of pride, there's a lot of pride in your group right now. Curtis Hunt, the general manager of the Prince Albert Raiders, joins us, and let's talk about your team. And first, before we get to what's on the ice, how about how involved you are in the community? I thought it was outstanding. We all heard of the tragedy of the Salvation Army fire over the Christmas holiday season in Prince Albert, and your organization stepped up to help out in any way that you could. I thought that was terrific, and maybe just speaks to the character that you're building in the program in Prince Albert.
Well, first of all, green is the color, as you know, Dave.
Yes.
Especially in the winter here. But the one thing about Prince Albert is and when we talk to parents and players when we recruit, it's about community. The players are important in the community. Like every small town, the arena is that gathering spot. Whether we're watching and discussing the job I'm doing or the coaches or if it's the politics of the day, certainly for us here, we feel an obligation to get into the community, whether it's our kids reading to schools, whether it's involved at the senior home or shoveling sidewalks to support the senior homes or playing cribbage or at the SPCA, just being involved the best we can. And I really hand it to our fans. When we're having a tremendous year, absolutely, but when we're having off years, they can see and understand where we are in the process, and they continue to support us in many ways. And so when we have a tragedy like we did, and on Christmas of all days, the community really steps up. We had a busload of food and mitts and toques, and then of course the 50-50 was a great hit that night, and we were able to donate some money, and every little bit helps, as we all know. So I'm very proud of the team and the players and what they do, and of course our front office staff who just do whatever they can to facilitate, coordinate, and then support the community as well.
When I'm talking on the ice, I hear an awful lot about the Medicine Hat Tigers. I hear the Edmonton Oil Kings name comes up. The Brandon Wheat Kings are around. But there's the team that's got the best win percentage in the entire Eastern Conference, which is yours, the Prince Albert Raiders. What's been working well for your squad so far?
I'll even go back to the community. I think we've got a group of kids that play for each other every night. That believe, regardless of the time of the game or the score, that they can come back or they can lock it down, I guess. We've been on a slow build here since, I think 2020 was taken away from us.
Yeah.
We felt we had a real good opportunity. Actually, that was the year we made the deal for young Max Paddock. And unfortunately, we lost the year, as did a lot of teams. But we did what I think things the right way. We've got a group of young coaches with good energy, great communication skills, and I think very inclusive to our players in terms of how they communicate and how we use our bench. And then, like anything, as I mentioned, things just fell into place. Like the goaltender's been fantastic. All three of our import players have been fantastic. We were able to pick up a high-end centerman in Max Heisey when the NCAA changed their rules. So, he's been tremendous. And and probably on the back end, led by Justice Christensen and Daxon Rudolph. Dax, who's touted to go in the top 10 this year, and our D have been able to move pucks. And it's kind of a long-winded answer, but I think everyone's contributed. We have depth in our lineup, and we're really excited about what could lay ahead for our group.
Curtis Hunt, general manager of the Prince Albert Raiders, is joining us on the cage right now. Obviously, there's a little bit of stress among the league right now heading into the trade deadline on Thursday. But what is your approach to trade deadline day? What does the process look like, being able to separate, the relationships from the business aspect of it? Take us, a little peek behind the curtain, maybe.
Well, the first thing I think is from a player's perspective, this is an awful time. Nobody wants to see me. I'm like the Grim Reaper in some ways. So, I try to keep the door closed so they can continue to focus on just being players and being kids, because it is a tough time of year when they're seeing transactions, because the game is so small with social media these days. I think from my perspective, we spend a lot of time talking, whether it's myself and the coaches or myself and my core scout group, about where are we now, who are the guys that are maybe underachieving, or do we have players that are unhappy? Do we have players that have requested maybe a new opportunity somewhere else, or is there players out there that are available that we can? I mentioned Max Paddock was available a few years ago. We were able to pick him up to enhance our group. So this process for me probably starts in October when I get out to watch our league. I try to get to watch every team once or twice, and then when we kind of zero in on what we want to do, then it's a little more video and a lot more conversations, I guess. But I personally never really want to wait till the very last minute. I think it creates a little bit of pressure and maybe some misses or mistakes. And so if we can get things done as we did, before Christmas with a couple deals, our kids get an opportunity to get acclimated, go home, reset, especially the new kids, and then come back and they understand just a little bit better who we are. So that's kind of a Coles Notes version of it. Obviously, there's more involved, and there's a lot of phone calls.
Well, I go back to the day, and again, this shows how old I am. I remember Ron Rumble sitting in the Weyburn Red Wings office with a piece of paper that he had scribbled on, looking for a player, this, and this, slides it through the fax machine, sends it to everybody that he has on that contact list, and that's how the trade started. Is it that similar approach, I guess, probably with a little modern technology upgrade, just keeping in contact with others around the league?
Well, you kind of just touch base with the guys periodically, like, what are you thinking, or where are you going to be, or do you want to get younger, or are you missing some draft picks, and just kind of get the state of the union for each individual club. And then everyone wants to win, and everyone wants to try to improve their club for this year or next. And so, yeah, it's very, very similar process. I wouldn't so much say as I would send out these are the attributes we're looking for. It's more of a conversation of, Dave, you have this player. I noticed he's kind of dropped in your lineup. Would you ever consider moving him? And if so, what would you be looking for? I think that might be a more accurate approach, at least for our league. I know one thing from my time in Fort McMurray is, that SJHL, like, it's a big animal, and they use the entire country to make their deals, where we're just a little bit smaller, obviously, with just the 23 teams.
So as we approach the deadline on Thursday, it seems of recent that teams, if you want to win a championship, you have to go all in and make those big moves. Is that accurate? And maybe conversely, obviously you spend a lot of time with these players, their families. There's a lot of personal investment too. How difficult is it to remove that emotion from the equation for something that may make your team better, but also may provide the player another opportunity that he may not see as an opportunity at the end, that moment?
So all in, that's interesting for our group, because we, I look at our team and how we've played and how we played in Everett, how we played at home against Kelowna, how we've played Edmonton, that being said, Matt did give us a little dirty beating. I think they beat us by 7 or 8 in their building. But I think if you can find the right piece and the price is right, that's kind of my approach. And then it's all about what you have in terms of, like, if I have lots of draft picks,
Yep.
then we will, put that into consideration. I'm still a believer you have to build your team through the draft, because I think that's how you create that community. Is you bring them in when they're younger, 15, 16, get them acclimated. Some stay, some don't. They come back at 17, but that's how you create those relationships and that community that I think gives you a chance to have success.
Okay, last one from me, and this is kind of a personal one. When it comes to your head coach, Ryan McDonald, he made the change. He stepped in. He seems to have acclimatized himself well. It wasn't that long ago that he actually sold me an insurance policy in Saskatoon. So at that time, I could see he was very detail-oriented. What makes him such a good coach?
Hey, well, I'll add a little piece to your story. I actually coached him in Regina.
That's right. There you go.
So, I just dated myself, I guess. But, it's funny when Ryan came back to the organization, he came as a guest coach through training camp with Mark Abshai. Then he joined us in the bubble in Regina that year as a guest coach, and I loved his energy. You mentioned it, his attention to detail, his communication. It was, I'll go anywhere, I want to learn anything. I've got a story to share about his own journey in the game itself, and he's got just a tremendous amount of passion. When he stepped in, there was 2 real points. I think he stepped in as an interim when our head coach was away ill, and how the players responded was quite remarkable. And then when we did decide to make the change, I think we lost our first game in Lethbridge, and then we went on a run to actually win the pennant. And again, the way the guys responded, but what Ryan does in terms of preparation and communication, and I think he's fair. I think his standards are high, and I think the kids have responded in kind to that. And he's got a young staff with him. And the 3 of them are thick as thieves. I love to sit in there and just listen. I'm the old guy at the party, and they check they cover just about every topic you can think of in that room about our players, not just the game itself, but their well-being off the ice. And I think he's got a tremendous future in front of him. Obviously, with Team Saskatchewan, with the silver medal losing to Ontario, which is quite a task to get to that final, considering our population and his work with Canada now. I think big things are to come for him.
And Curtis, another name that came up here a couple of times, Max Paddock. He's actually going to be joining us on the show a little bit later on this afternoon for Pat's Chat. Do you want us to grill him on anything specific? Because I know there was a home and home against the PA Raiders, and the Pats dropped both of those games.
You know what? I have a lot of time and respect for Max. Ask him if he misses hunting up north here. I know that he got up a couple times. I think in the deep, deep snow, even further north than us. But, no, it was great to see him jump in as a coach. He's a guy that's always got a smile on his face. I saw him up in the booth here in Prince Albert. I didn't make the trip to Regina, but a big smile on his face, and I just wish him the best as he enters this crazy game of hockey and the coaching end of it.
All right, Curtis. Well, we'll grill him on something else for you, okay?
Sounds good to me.
Curtis Hunt, General Manager of the Prince Albert Raiders. Really appreciate you taking the time today.
Thanks, Teagan. Thanks, Dave. Have a great day, you too.
You too, and Happy New Year, Curtis.
You got it.
Of course, Curtis Hunt joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline, the Greek-style pizza that has become famous around the world, plus all the Greek and Canadian food you can't get enough of. Western Pizza, the local legend. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Welcome back to the Monday edition of the Sports Cage. My name is Teagan Witko, your Monday host, joined alongside voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders, Dave Thomas, and of course, Colson Schultz running the controls, keeping us on the air and on the stream at sportscage.com. We also do have a special guest here. How dare I nearly forget the Grey Cup? is in the room with us.
I don't
feel
think
a
you
little
could forget.
special.
There's an aura. Do you know
There
what I mean?
is. I know. I kind of feel like I need to be on my toes, and I really can't screw anything up now. Because it remembers.
It does.
I'm sure it has a memory.
If that thing had a memory, can you imagine the book it would write over the last 2.5 months?
Can someone do that? That would be fantastic.
There's a book out for the Stanley Cup, and there's something for the Grey Cup too. But yeah.
But I mean, we need a fresh one just for this offseason specifically, I think.
You know what I think would be an interesting perspective? Would be that of Rider Nation, right? Because the players, they've earned it, they celebrated, but Rider Nation gets brought into it. What are your memories, right? Like, did you see it at a Pure Later Tackle Hunger game, right? Is that the memory? Or is it that you saw, you name the shirtless player at the parade, that you saw them holding it, right?
Or one of the many fine establishments across this province that have, been graced by the presence of this Grey Cup, because it has made some rounds already, but it's going to be making more.
Yeah, that's right. The community tour coming up in February. So, again, there will be lots of advance notice. Watch SportsCage.com, Riderville.com. We'll let you know where it's going to be so you don't miss an opportunity to see the Cup. Because, again, we would love to have had it happen more than 5 times, and here's to a 6th time next year, but it doesn't happen every day, right?
No, and it's something that definitely needs to be cherished and celebrated. So let's celebrate. I like it. And we're pretty fortunate that it paid us a visit today.
Yeah.
It's one hell of a way to start a Monday.
Yes, absolutely. And you know what? I kind of feel bad. I should have given Luke Mullender a call, because I know isn't that great?
And the fact that you're admitting this on the radio right now is the funniest part to me.
No, but Luke gave there were so many moments. Luke gave me the moment of what it meant to win the Grey Cup as a player, right? So again, he's removed from the game, going to be celebrating his 10th year in the broadcast booth next season, right, Luke? But just to see, there was a tear in his eye when it got to 00 on the clock, and we're standing in the tunnel waiting to go onto the field, and there was a tear. And at that moment, I understood, right? Like, for years and years and years, right, you hear about the 13th man, right? And you at some point, right, and even with Luke Wilson, right? Remember when we talked with him and talked about, well, why wouldn't you just hand the football off on the goal line with the Seattle Seahawks? Why would you not do that, right? And you could just feel that instant little bit of pain even after the amount of time that had passed. And so again, Luke Mullender, the last time he had an opportunity to win the Cup was 13th man.
That's wild.
No, pardon me, it was the year after with the Elks. But again, you could see what getting that Cup, he got it in 2007, right? And you could see what having the opportunity to have the Cup meant. And like I said, as when you pour, and he tried to explain it to me, and again, I'm not going to do him justice, but again, he said, my whole life, I have put everything into this game, whether it was going to class so that I could play football, whether it was training in the gym so that I could play football, whether it was overcoming an injury. And I wake up in the morning and I think, how can I be ready for game day? And it was all for that. And I'm like, that is something that no one can take away from you. And he said, you're right. He goes, the name is going to be on the trophy, but nobody can ever not say I'm a winner. And I'm like, that's pretty cool. So again, you look at the 2025 Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Etched in history.
Nobody can take away from the fact that you're a champion, and their name will be on the Cup somewhere.
On the Cup somewhere.
On the Cup somewhere. I'm looking for vacant spots.
They'll make room.
I just
don't you worry.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
And again, as Dave mentioned, this will be toured across the province in various corners. That's going to be coming up in February. So next month, keep an eye out for that. Unfortunately, we did get a text on the Prairie Land Rentals text line 306-936-6262. Cole from North Dakota was hoping that the Cup could come to Minot. I'm not making any promises, Cole. I'm sorry. But hey, another reason to maybe just come visit Saskatchewan. It's going to be all over the place up here.
The way this thing smells, I don't know if it'll get across the border. Sorry to say.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point. Should also probably update this bronze medal game here. Canada now up 5-2, just as a heads up. So they're looking pretty good. They're in 12 and a half minutes left in the second period. And I did see a stat here. Parekh has actually tied a record, matches the mark for the most points by a D-man at a single World Junior Hockey Championship tournament with 12 points.
Who did he tie?
I didn't look that deep.
No,
Dave, this just came out.
I know the answer.
What? Way to put me on the spot. Who was it? Who was it?
Pietrangelo.
Oh.
He got it in Saskatoon in 2013.
Show off.
I happened to be there. And he was a pretty good defenseman.
Rub it in.
No, he was a pretty good defenseman, and I just, again, if I wasn't there, I don't know that I would know that. But
that's a pretty impressive stat to remember, if I'm being honest. But now he's in more company with Pratt.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm very curious to see what his game is going to look like when it translates to the NHL level with the Calgary Flames. And again, that's why you pay scouts. That's why the general managers they have to project this, and that's something that I am terrible at doing.
Well, they're never going to get it right. I mean, depending on who you ask. Because there's always those individuals who, they're snubs here, snubs there. I mean, even look, last week, the Hockey Canada roster came out for the Olympics, and there were people talking about those who were left off the list more than those who were on it.
Oh, isn't that true, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. That's
the topic of conversation. Yeah, here it is. It's on the stream right now. Thank you, Colson. SportsCage.com. A lot of people talking about, all of the different names that they were expecting to see on there that maybe didn't make the cut. But we now need to go to Sprinkle of the Day. So why don't we do that next? It is for Sports Select. So you can get in on the action if you'd like to. It's as easy as going to sportselect.com. Okay, simply make your picks. It'll generate that little QR code for you. You take it into your Lotto Spot retailer, and you can always go in and fill it out the old-fashioned way as well. It doesn't matter. It's all the same. Every bet is 100% legal with a chance of winning cash in hand. Sports Select, when you're ready to play, bet on the original. Must be 18 plus to play, and please play responsibly. So the gold medal game tonight, Dave, Czechia, Sweden. Sweden's the favorite.
no, not a surprise. Sweden,
not by much, though.
but not a surprise. The thing is, can Sweden close the deal, right? They have problems getting beyond the semifinal. They've done that. Now can they go ahead and beat Czechia? And you got to give Czechia full marks. They're a good hockey team.
Yeah, I think I'd take Czechia, honestly, tonight.
Oof.
I think that they're going to be coming off yesterday's game, just raring to go, guns a-blazing. A little bit of momentum goes a long way, especially with that Czech team, at least in my opinion.
Short turnaround. Mm-hmm.
But they had a longer day of rest today.
But you saw the momentum high that Czechia had, right? Like you could see that emotion, and that's hard. That's hard. That drains you, right?
So are you taking Sweden?
I'll take Sweden. Yeah.
Yeah.
You took Czechia, didn't you?
Yeah.
I'd take Sweden. Sweden's going to roll over them.
You think so?
Oh, it's going to be 4 goals, I think.
Okay.
Curtis
Over, under,
Hunt may never speak to me again. But
good thing we already had him on.
well, no, I just don't see Czechia replicating the emotional high level of play that they had last night. You're going to have a letdown, and you don't have a lot of time to turn it around. I could be wrong, and I also hold grudges. Well, no, the Czechia captain, remember last year, he kind of faked the injury, got our guy kicked out of the game.
Oh,
remember
right.
that? And I can't let that one go. But you know who you wouldn't even remember this. Colson won't remember this. He reminds me of Esa Teagan. He is just the ultimate. Do either of you know Esa Teagan?
No, please explain.
The name rings a bell, but I don't know why.
He was a hockey player. Played for the Edmonton Oilers. Had a great bucket. It was one of the Jofas that Gretzky used to wear. But he was the ultimate agitator. What he would do is, and again, I tried to teach my kids this one, is that he would be, the Esa Teagan in play was that he would just simply shadow the best player on the other team. He would follow him all over the ice and then drive him absolutely nuts.
So he's a pest.
Well, yeah, pest, yeah. Before Brad Marchand was Brad Marchand, it was Esa Teagan. Truly.
Okay, that's the perfect comparison.
And Teagan could score. He could skate. He was Finnish, but he would drive you mad. To the point, again, he'd take chops, he'd draw penalties all over the place. But again, he also was so good at neutralizing the opponent. So usually, like back in the day, right, they'd be playing the Calgary Flames, so he'd stick around Joe Nieuwendyk, or he'd be, very rarely did you cover Joel Otto, unless you're in the face-off circle, but Theo Fleury, guys like that. That was his job. Your role is you negate these guys.
Well, now I'm going to have to go do a deep dive on YouTube tonight and search up some old clips.
There'll be some
I like
dandies.
a good pest.
Yeah.
It keeps the game interesting. It keeps it fun.
Teagan was the guy.
I'm sorry, Dave. We totally got off track here.
Oh, yeah.
Sprinkle of the day.
Sorry. I took Sweden, right? I said by 4 goals, that's going to haunt me. But
yeah,
whatever.
that is. Let's clip that, Curtis Colson. I'm so sorry. I've done it to Curtis, so now I'm doing it to you. Sprinkle of the day. We got our picks for the gold medal game tonight. Now, just a reminder that you can also do future bets, so you can bet on the winner of Stanley Cup, Super Bowl, which is going to be here before you know it, NBA Final, NCAA Soccer, NASCAR, and so much more. So check it out. Bet. Place your bets. Do it right now. Agree with me. Agree with Dave. Are you going to be the tiebreaker here, Colson? Who do you think? Check ya?
Well, I was going to take the tie to not be the tiebreaker, you know?
You're going to take the tie in an elimination game. Solid plan.
Yeah.
Hey, he's playing it safe. He's playing
If it goes to overtime, then I definitely win, you know?
I guess so.
You're not wrong. Sprinkle of the day for Sports Select. All right. Should we do the sports ticker now? Maybe take a peek at what's going on? Cool.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sports, Regina's locally owned one-stop hockey shop. Now with a price match guarantee. 1425 McIntyre Street.
After 13 seasons in the CFL, the 3-time Grey Cup champion Micah Johnson has officially retired as a player. He will be stepping straight into a coaching position with the Green and White, however, as the new defensive line coach. World Junior Hockey Championship, you just heard us talking about. A gold medal game goes tonight. Sweden versus Czechia right now. Canada up 5-2 with about 7.5 minutes to go in the second period. Now, Saskatchewan Curling Championships. It's happening in Melville. Both men's and women's final draws of the day go at 7 o'clock tonight. Shifting gears over to the NHL now. A couple of Canadian teams in action. The Red Wings travel to Ottawa to take on the Senators, and then the Kraken are in Calgary to take on the Flames. Our SportsCage.com poll right now. What is preventing Canada from winning the gold medal at the World Junior Hockey Championship? What do you think? There was a couple of different options here. Nations around the world are improving and have narrowed the talent gap. Or is it a lack of discipline? Is it a lack of talent? Or is it a lack of heart? Now, running away with it right now is that first option. Just the fact that the gap is being narrowed at this point because other teams are stepping up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're seeing a lot more competitive players that are joining these other nations at this point. I mean, Canada historically has been pretty high up there in the rankings, but there's other teams gaining ground at this point. I mean, the United States also not in that gold medal game. First time since 2016 that you haven't seen either Canada or the States in that gold medal match.
Interesting take, just DM to me, and take it for what it's worth. If Russia was in the tournament, Canada wouldn't have made the quarterfinals. That's pretty tough for a team that went unbeaten in regulation. Like through the round robin, that's a tough one, right?
But doesn't that change the tenor of the conversation substantially if Russia is in it?
Oh, totally. It would be very interesting.
Because it's been quite a few years now, right? I think it was 22 was the last time.
Yep.
There was a Russian team.
22 was the last time because the reason they got banned happened shortly after that.
Right.
Yeah, and you remember they tied that year, right? So that's what it was.
Yeah, so it's definitely
and it's 5-3.
Interesting. Yeah, 5-3 now. Finland just scored. Okay, so 5:42 to go in the second period. Canada is still up right now by 2 goals. 5-3 is where we sit right now. And you can feel free to join in the conversation, by the way, on the Prairie Land Rentals text line at 306-936-6262. You can always chime in, whatever it is that, Dave and I and Colson are talking about, or if maybe you want to chime in with a question that you could possibly have for Darian Durant. Doubles is going to be joining us on the other side of 5 o'clock. So if you got something for him, please feel free, pass it along. We do also have Pat's Chat coming up before the end of the show today. And Max Paddock of the Regina Pats is going to be on the program. So if you have something for him on that as well, you can always go back as well and listen to any of the conversations that we've had up to this point, wherever you get your podcasts, or you can hit us up on YouTube. We also stream at sportscage.com. Had a good conversation with Riley Schick of Lumsden, Saskatchewan, on his way to the Dream Bowl in Dallas this upcoming weekend. You might recognize that name from the Thunder or the Rams. Also, there is a couple of other conversations. We had Curtis Hunt
Yes.
General manager of the Prince Albert Raiders. He was a lot of fun to talk to and totally called me out live on the radio when I said this was our first time talking. He's like, no, I met you in Moose Jaw, Teagan. That completely forgot.
A lot of people that forget a lot of things in Moose Jaw. Curtis Hunt, not one, sorry.
Easy.
That cost me. That was a joke. I love Moose Jaw.
We love Moose Jaw. Come on. It's my hometown. Don't hate. Okay, I'm being told that we need to take a break because we do have your news and weather coming up here in just a little bit. This is the Sports Cage on the home of local sports on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Welcome back. I'm Teagan Witko, your Monday host of the Sports Cage with Dave Thomas, voice of your Saskatchewan Roughriders, and Colson running the board, keeping us on track. We are streaming at sportscage.com, our YouTube and Twitter as well. And, of course, on your radio, 620 CKRM. We are just going to dive right into our next conversation here on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. It is the pizza known worldwide for a reason, loaded with toppings of Western Canadian ingredients and always cooked to perfection.
It's time for Double Talk with Saskatchewan Roughrider legend Darian Durant. Double Talk is brought to you by Campbell Safety Consulting. At Campbell Safety Consulting, we work towards helping companies create a competitive edge by executing a proactive health and safety program.
Happy New Year, Darian. We have a special guest in studio, an old friend. If you can see it, the Grey Cup is in the building with us right now.
Oh, my
Your
buddy.
old friend.
My good old buddy there. Yeah, I see him. He's looking lonely.
Well, Dave Thomas is beside him here, but we needed to get a seat specifically for the cup because, I mean, come on. It's the Grey Cup. Your name is on there. You know what's there he is. There's Dave. Dave's hanging out there. But yes, Happy New Year. Thank you for taking the time, man.
Thank you.
Not sure if you heard the news this morning, but Micah Johnson has retired as a player, and he is now taking on, of course you know this, he's taking on a new role with the Green and White, and he has moved into a coaching position now. Take us through what that thought process must have been like for him, you know, just making such a big change, especially coming off a Grey Cup winning year.
Yeah, I mean, look, 13 years at any position of professional football is just outstanding. We all know the time frame that you have as a player, but for a defensive lineman, especially inside the trenches, an interior defensive lineman at that, to last 13 years to still be playing at a high level is just tremendous. It's a tremendous feat for him to keep his body in shape, to stay healthy, all of those good things. But we all know at some point you must hang up the cleats, and I think that for him, I mean, there's no better way to go out than on top. There's nothing he hasn't accomplished. And, with him being such good friends with Coach Mace, for him to transition into a coaching role with the team and to be able to continue to bring his football expertise to those guys. The D-line respects him. The organization respects him. And most importantly, Coach Mace respects him enough to give him a coaching job directly after playing. So that says a lot about his character, the type of guy he is, and his knowledge of the game. So I'm happy for him. And, like I said, what better way to go out than on top, because a lot of guys don't get that opportunity.
Darian, with the Grey Cup sitting right to my left, it feels like there's an aura around the cup, and it gives me goosebumps just being this close. But maybe the coolest moment this afternoon was when I looked down, that ring right there. Again, that works out well for radio. Way to go, Dave. It says Darian Durant. How cool is it to know that your name is on that trophy and will never be removed?
It's special. I mean, that's what you play the game for. I mean, I love the 2007 championship, but that was really Kerry Joseph. So, as a quarterback, you want your opportunity to be the starter. Same thing Trevor went through this year. It's different when you're a backup and you're not the guy. But when you win it and you're the guy, you're the leader of the team, you've been there all season, then it's just a different feeling. So it's just special for me to be able to have my name entrenched in history with guys who are still my friends to this day. We just had a special group of guys. So, to be on that Grey Cup and know that one day my kids will be able to look at that thing and to be able to see their dad's name. It's just special.
It's something, again, you hear champions speak, and I'm sure you've said it before, is that it can never be taken away from me, is the fact that I am a winner and I have accomplished that. So when you see the trophy, what does it conjure up memories of teammates, of moments, of all of the above?
It's everything. It's for me. It starts with heartache. It starts with the way the season ended in 2009. To be so close and not be able to accomplish that. And I just like to speak in things as a starter. Like I keep saying, I appreciate 2007, but for me personally, I like to start with 2009 because that's kind of where my career began, and what you guys know as Darian Durant, the starting quarterback, began. So it started off with heartbreak and just I was a young guy, not knowing what it meant to be a Grey Cup champ, not knowing what hard work meant in order to accomplish things like that, just adjusting to a 18-game season. So it's just a lot of things, a lot of growth for me. And then losing in 2010 as well, losing two, not wondering if you ever get back. You hear so many stories of guys who never get an opportunity to win one, or they go to a Grey Cup early in their career and they never get a chance to go back. So for me, there was a lot of question marks coming after that 2010 season. So then ultimately to accomplish winning the Grey Cup in 2013 and winning it at home. I mean, I always have to emphasize that because a lot of guys don't get that opportunity. So it just makes it that much more special. And to share that with Rider Nation is just a great thing.
Darian, we all know that Teagan runs the show around here, and you're going to be very happy to know that she has just decreed that you get to have the Grey Cup for one day coming up next month sometime. What are you going to do with the cup that day? Yep. What are you doing?
I don't know. That's a great question. You just brought that to my attention, so I have no idea. It's something to think about now. If this is true, it's something to think about. I definitely want to be able, maybe take it back to my old high school or something, something that can motivate the guys that they can accomplish everything, especially coming from a small town in South Carolina where a lot of people don't make it out. So maybe it'll be a little bit of motivation for the guys at my high school.
You're allowed to take a couple of teammates along with you on that trip. Who are you taking?
Oh, wow. Who are my funny guys, man? Well, first and foremost, your partner, Luke Mullender. I think having Luke definitely, he has his way around crowds. He knows how to talk to people. He keeps them interested. He keeps them laughing. So Luke Mullender is my guy. Go back to my old school teammates, though. I'm talking about like Andy Fantus, Luke Mullender, Kanji, that group of guys. I mean, because those are the guys I came into the league with. Those are the guys that I developed a huge bond with because we were so young and we were all coming into unfamiliar territory. So I would have to go at my earlier teammates, that group of guys.
I'm done with hypotheticals. We can all be happy with that.
Well, of course, we had a conversation about this earlier, and I'm asking Dave what he would do at the Cup for a day, and he got all sentimental and talked about all these places he'd take it. And I'm like, I just want to eat deep fried pickles and buffalo sauce out of that thing.
Not Come a drink?
Yeah, why not? Give me some Pilsner.
Okay.
You know what's up. It's Saskatchewan.
There you go.
We were also having a conversation earlier about the decisions that are now being made, right, Darian? I mean, we're heading into that free agency window shortly here in February that's going to be hitting, and difficult decisions need to be made. But when you're sitting there, maybe approaching that free agency, are you thinking one more year? Is it easy to be convinced coming off a Grey Cup winning season to sign for just that one more year?
Yeah, I think you have to. Whenever your last game, you end up being a champion, you end up being on top of your field. I mean, you always feel like you should at least give it another run. And I think that's the mentality that J.O. has, and I think he should. I mean, this team is well put together. It has a great mix of young guys with your veteran leadership. And, I think the players are there. Bringing back Samuel Emulus and Trevor. And, I'm looking to see what happens with Tavon and Campbell and the rest of those guys, but you start with the foundation, our reigning most outstanding offensive lineman in Yoshi Hardrick. You bring back the core foundation of guys because you feel like with those guys, you can make another run at it. So it seems like that's the direction J.O.'s going, and I think he should because look, the guys are, besides Trevor, even though, the guys may be a little bit older, they're still playing at a higher level. They have so much experience and they know how to win. And when you have that great mixture of guys, then you definitely should try to make another run at it.
When you look at Samuel Emilus, can you break down for us, Darian? Because word on the street is that he's going to be one of the top paid receivers in the Canadian Football League, if not the top paid Canadian receiver. What makes him so special?
I think he's a ratio changer. I mean, it's very, very hard to find Canadian guys, and this is no disrespect, but to play at the level that he does, you don't know that he's a Canadian guy. So whenever you can have a guy that to fill one of those Canadian spots and he's just elite at that position, then that makes his value go way up. So look, he's a big time player. He showed that when healthy, he can change the game. You have to look out for where he is at all times. He had a huge Grey Cup game. So he's a special player. And like I said, he's a ratio changer, and he's a guy you have to have on your roster as a Canadian if you're any GM in the league, because those guys are hard to find.
One thing that was relayed to me regarding Samuel Emilus, and Darian, you know this better than anyone, is that Samuel was compared to Chris Getzlaff, not in body size or structure, but in heart, determination, and will. I would suggest that perhaps that's one of the biggest tributes you can play to an athlete and a receiver in the Canadian Football League.
Absolutely. You see so many guys with all the ability in the world, but they just don't have the fight. They don't have the will, the willingness to do whatever it takes to win. And I think that's what separates those two guys. I think it's a great comparison. You look at their running styles. I was just looking at Samuel's highlights there. He reminds me so much of Getz, the strides in and out of his routes. And I mean, these are the type of guys you have to have, the guys who want it, the guys who play with passion. And he's one of those guys. He's the leader in that locker room. And you can just see every time he catches the ball, he's fighting for extra yards. He's trying to set an example for his teammates to show that he's a guy that's willing to do any and everything. So like I said before, he's a guy you have to have on your team. He's a ratio breaker, and he's a very productive player.
Is the relationship between Trevor Harris and Samuel Emilus similar then to the relationship between Darian Durant and Chris Getzlaff?
For sure. You're going to have your best relationship with the guys that are closer to the ball, your slot receivers. And, Sam's that guy, whether it's to the weak side or strong side of the field. He's the guy catching the bubble screens. He's the guy, doing the quick hot routes. He's the guy that has to read all the coverages, know where the safeties are. So you have to be on the same page with your quarterback if you're going to play that position. He and Trevor seem to have a great relationship. They both know where they need to be in time and space, and you can see that. So better than going to another team and trying to develop that, why don't you just stay where you are and stay in a situation where you already have that chemistry? So good job by J.O. and this Ryder front office of getting the deal done.
So when we look at the highlights, and again, if you aren't able to watch and you're listening on the radio, go to sportscage.com, check out the video and the podcast later. But when you look at Samuel Emilus making a catch, there seems to be some familiar faces surrounding him, like a Kean Schaefer-Baker and a Dell Duncan Busby. Again, these are all Canadians, and you had such a great Canadian receiving core around you, Darian, in your career. How important is it to be able to keep those complementary pieces together, even though there isn't a huge pie, if you will, when it comes to the salary cap?
Yeah, whenever you get an opportunity to have a great group of Canadians, you have to keep those guys together. They just play a special brand of football. There's no selfishness within those guys. Everyone cares if they get 1,000 yards and have a lot of touchdowns. That's just the nature of football. But it just seems like the way Canadian players play ball, they're just so unselfish. It's never about me. And like you said, these guys are always helping each other up. They'll run the decoy route 50 yards down the field to open up the things underneath. These are the little things that these guys do that you don't hear a lot about and they don't complain about. So if you can get a nice group, and you can, afford to pay these guys, it opens up so many other positions for your national American players, and it allows you to kind of have a little bit more athleticism at other places on the field. So, I was lucky to have a great group of Canadian receivers, and they have the same thing going right now.
So if you look at next season and the quarterback situation, Trevor Harris is coming back. Tommy Stevens is coming back. Question marks around Jake Mayer and Cone. What do you think Jeremy O'Day needs to look at in terms of a backup quarterback for this roster in 2026?
Well, I definitely think you have to see who can fill Trevor's shoes. I mean, it's definitely a hard thing to do. You're talking about career 70+% passing completion guy. So I don't think you'll ever find exactly that. But I mean, I'm interested to see what Jake Maier can do. He had a couple games where he started and he showed some flashes. But with Trevor's age and unfortunately his injury history, you have to make sure you have someone that's ready to go just in case he gets injured or this is his last year. So I think that, J.O. knows how important that QB position is, and he'll bring in some guys to compete for that backup job if it's not Jake Maier. And, he knows how important it is to fill that job in case Trevor decides to retire or, God forbid, any injuries come or anything happens to where things happen a little bit faster than we expect.
What did you want in a backup quarterback in your career? Did you want someone that would challenge you? Did you want someone that saw the game the same way that you did and you could collaborate more closely with one another?
To be honest, I wanted a guy that I was better than for sure. I mean, no one wants. I mean, let's just be honest here. You don't want to be in a situation where you feel like your job can be, the guy behind you could be a threat to your job. I mean, anybody who says they want a guy that with the same amount of talent as them behind them is just they're flat out lying. So, but you want a guy to be able to, first and foremost, you understand that it's very tough to stay healthy for an entire season. So first and foremost, you want a guy that sees the game like you do and can come in and win a couple games if need be. But, when you're in meetings, you spend a lot of times in meetings watching film and things of that nature. So you want to be on the same page with those guys. I was more comfortable. I think, after Drew Willie, I got a little bit more comfortable when Kevin Glenn came in and, you had another veteran who saw pretty much everything you've seen, all the defenses. He knows everything about the game. It's a little bit tougher when you're dealing with a young guy. You're kind of the mentor. You're kind of the teacher. You help them learn, what this game is all about. But whenever you have a veteran come in who has had success and understands the game, then you get to see the game from a different perspective. So it's a tough situation. The selfish part of me always wanted to be better than my backup, but at the same time, that it's a team game. That there's a possibility you could get hurt, and you want to make sure you have a guy that can step in and fill your shoes. So it's a tough situation for sure.
We've had this discussion before. Well, not a discussion. I've said it, and you're too modest to say anything. And I've mentioned the number of different offensive coordinators that you had in your career in the Canadian Football League, and it's outstanding because I think it was 3 or maybe 4 seasons straight that you had a new, different offensive coordinator coming into camp every year. And I just can't fathom that amount of turnover. And we remember we talked about Nathan Rourke when he was down south and the number of offenses he had to grasp. When a new offensive coordinator is coming in, for example, we'll see a new one in Ottawa, we'll see a new one coming in Toronto, we'll see a new one coming in Winnipeg this season, Darian. As a quarterback in the offseason, doing your due diligence to get prepared, how much can you do without meeting the coach all the time? And how hard is that if you're in a constant state of flux with the offensive coordinator changing around you?
It's very difficult. I mean, first and foremost, each individual OC has their own terminology. So, to learn basically a new foreign language in such a short amount of time is very difficult. And then you have to develop a relationship with him. You have to find out his tendencies, knowing what he likes, knowing his rhythm of play calls. It's just so much that goes into learning. And so, when it happens during the offseason, all they can really do at first is just send you a playbook. So you try to get in there, you learn that terminology, you kind of compare it to some of the schemes and route trees that you've had in the past to kind of make it an easier learning process for you. But, you try to you can kind of take some of the learning curve away from it, but it's difficult. And then the offseason progresses, and as you start to have, a mini camp here or there, or you start to be able to meet up in person, then you could kind of get in the film room and you watch where they were previously. In Ottawa's case, Dinwiddie will probably sit down with Drew Brown and they'll watch film of this Toronto offense. And I'm sure they'll go back to his days in Calgary to kind of compare some of the things that he did to what he'll be doing now. So if in that case, it makes it a lot easier. Back in my day, there was no flying into Regina Regina in the offseason to sit down with Coach Cortez or to sit down with Doug Barry to kind of figure out what direction he wanted to go with the offense. But there's so much more technology now. The league has a lot more resources available. So these things could, be sped up a lot due to the time we're in.
So before Teagan points out the misery of our Dallas Cowboys and what we had to endure this season, the quick
I'm not throwing stones in glass houses here, boys.
True. I do, just a quick follow-up. Darian, was it easier to grasp that new offensive system early in your career, later in the career? Did it matter? Because, again, you point out Drew Brown, right? So he'll be going through another new offense in Ottawa. And Zach Collaros is going to go through another offense in Winnipeg, albeit having worked with Tommy Condell before. Was there a difference in your career as to whether...
Yeah, it's so much easier later in your career. I think, if you're 10, 12 years in like Zach Collaros, it'll be all you have to do now is tell Tommy what you like, and he'll be able to conform to the way Zach sees the game, the type of terminology. See, it's a lot different when you're a vet. And in Zach's case, he's a future Hall of Famer. Tommy Condell understands that, and he'll do things that Zach is comfortable with. He'll make that learning curve so much easier for Zach. He'll ask Zach what he's more comfortable with. I think a younger quarterback like Drew Brown, I'm sorry, I say Dinner because that's my guy, but Dinwiddie will come in and he'll implement the offense. He'll see how Drew Brown runs the offense first, and then they'll start adding or subtracting things based on how comfortable Drew may be. So if you're a veteran, your OC is going to come in and cater to you and make sure you're happy. And then as a younger guy, you kind of have to give in to the OC that comes in and learn his system, learn the way he does things until you show that you have a grasp of it. And then he can now change things to fit your ability.
You talk about new offensive coordinators and the terminology that you need to learn. It's almost like learning a new language. I found it quite interesting because in this day and age we can mic up quarterbacks, right? I mean, Phillip Rivers, I think it was 2 weeks ago, he was all mic'd up and probably the most PG mic'd up quarterback I've ever heard, and it was hilarious and made me love him so much more. Would you have been so G-rated if you were to be mic'd up during a game?
Not at all. Not at
Do you
all.
like it?
You know what? My mic'd up, the mic on my shoulder pads would have to come with parental advisory. I'm telling you, because that's just how fired up I was. I just had that type of energy, and the guys around me, they just brought that out of me as well. So I was a swearer. I still am to this day. I can't help it. It's just some of us football guys. It's just it's either in us or it's not. There's no in between with football guys. So I'm definitely not the guy you want to have if you have kids watching, but if you're looking for entertainment, I'm definitely the guy.
That is the perfect response because I find it so fascinating in this day and age, the conversations, the calls on the field. I've never played, obviously, so I just find it really intriguing. I know we're running out of time, Darian. I did want to squeak in a little bit of NFL talk, though. What stood out to you as we head into Wild Card Weekend this upcoming week?
You know what? I'm interested in these Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, look, who expected this? Who expected them to win the AFC South? Who expected them to have so much success after a top 5 pick last year? I'm excited for them. My brother played in Jacksonville, so I was able to be in the mix a little bit down there, and they can be a great football city if they're winning. So this is a great opportunity for them. So I'm looking at this Jacksonville Buffalo game, and with Pat Mahomes being out of the playoffs, this is Josh Allen's time. It's wide open for him, and we're going to see if Jacksonville is for real or if Buffalo is for real, and see what they can really do. So this is Josh Allen's moment, in my opinion, and I'm looking forward to see what kind of run he can put together this postseason. I'm sorry.
I also feel like Bills fans they've earned it. They've been through so much.
I know. I mean, going through the 2009 heartbreak is something, but I can't imagine just all of the Super Bowls in a row that this team has been to, and just finding ways to lose, last-second field goals, you name it, man. They've had so much heartbreak. So I'm kind of rooting for them and interested to see if they can, get over that hump this year.
Well, we're going to have to reconvene next week and see how the Wild Card Weekend shaped up here. But Darian, always appreciate the time. Thanks so much for doing this.
Absolutely. Thanks again, guys.
Of course, that was Double Talk with Darian Durant, brought to you by Campbell's Safety Consulting. This is, of course, the Monday edition of the Sports Cage. Thanks to Keln Solar, 35 years of experience moving water from a dugout or well without electricity. Visit kelnsolar.com to find out more for your livestock operation. And we do have our next guest already on standby here, Dave, on the Western Pizza guest hotline. So we're going to get to that in just a moment here. Pat's Chat is coming up. This is the Sports Cage on the home of local sports on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com. Okay, let's take a look at your sports ticker. Couple of things that you need to be aware of. Okay, so after 13 seasons in the CFL, three-time Grey Cup champ Micah Johnson has officially retired as a player from the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but he will remain on staff as the defensive line coach. Pardon me. World Junior Hockey Championship. The bronze medal game is still happening right now. Canada still up 5-3 over Finland. And, of course, you have that gold medal game coming up between Sweden and Czechia tonight at 7:30. I'm going Czechia. Dave,
I got the Swedes.
Yeah, you were going
I think the
with
Swedes.
Sweden. Okay, Saskatchewan Curling Championship. Its own in Melville. Both men and women's final draws are going to be happening at 7 o'clock to wrap up the day. In the NHL, what do we have here? The Red Wings traveling to Ottawa, taking on the Senators, and then the Seattle Kraken in Calgary battling the Flames. Those are the lone two Canadian teams in action tonight. The SportsCage.com poll, what is preventing Canada from winning a gold medal at the World Junior Hockey Championship? You can let us know what you think by voting at SportsCage.com. You can always text us on the Prairie Land Rentals text line as well. And if you do text us, you're automatically entered to win some tickets to the Regina Pats game this upcoming Friday as Red Deer is in town. Again, you can text us at 306-936-6262. So that is a look at your sports ticker, which is brought to you by Steelcraft Doors. On to the next.
Up next is...
Oh, we don't have an intro. Okay, it's Pat's Chat. So joining us right now, Max Paddock, of course, from the Regina Pats. Thanks so much for taking the time here to join us, Max.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Sorry about that. I thought we had an intro, but I guess it's just a cold intro. You're stuck with just me today. I apologize for that.
No worries.
No, thank you for coming on. Obviously, we're at a fun time in the season, and you have had an opportunity to work with these players now for over half the year. So I guess first thoughts on the first half of the 25-26 season for the Regina Pats.
Well, kind of a rocky start. Started off not so well, and then found our footing a bit around October, and then again had some injuries going into our U.S. trip, and then struggled in our U.S. trip, and I've been kind of bouncing around since then, and I played some good games, some bad games, and just trying to find our way here.
Is consistency something that develops with a young team to when they start to mature and become older? Is that something that is taught and learned?
Wouldn't necessarily say it's taught. It's more learned through experience. And last year we had a lot of young guys, and they're still young now, and they're still learning and trying their best. And at the end of the day, we got to find a way to create a little bit more offense. I think that's something that we've been struggling in. I know that we're scoring a lot of goals, but it's mostly came from the power play as of late. So trying to find a way to create more offense 5-on-5, and that should lead us to playing with the lead, starting with the lead, rather than trying to play catch up, which it seems like we have been doing a little bit here in the last little bit.
At this point in the season, right, we're starting to approach the WHL trade deadline, and I'm sure that must create anxiety for the players. Being on the hockey ops side, is there any way that you can relieve that stress for players?
I think it just comes naturally, the stress. A lot of the players, obviously, we can't tell them what exactly is going to happen because we ourselves don't know. It could be a call one day that changes some things, and all they can do is show up to the rink with a good attitude and practice like they're going to be here. And for the most part, I'm sure most of them will be. Obviously, we have some decisions to make here coming up, but it's pretty a natural feeling that no matter how secure you think your job might be or your spot on the team might be, there's always always options out there, right?
Sorry, I was going to just ask, which is more stressful then? At this time of year as a player or somebody on the hockey ops side?
I would think as a player, just because there's so much unknown, like you don't know what you're going to get into when you show up to the rink in the morning. And every time a coach or manager calls you down to the office, your mind immediately goes to thinking that you're getting traded. And normally it's not the case. Normally it's just a meeting or a video session, but everybody's always just a little bit on edge as a player.
So you mentioned it, injuries have been a bit of a situation for the Regina Pats in the first half of this season. Of course, with the unfortunate injury to Badshanook, you have brought in Matthew Hutchinson. You have Marek Schlankner, who has been playing exceptionally well. Maybe talk a little bit about his game and what you've seen in his development.
Yeah, well, with Schlanks, like if you watch practice enough, it's not a surprise that he's doing as well as he has been. He's the type of guy that he works his butt off. Like you almost got to kick him off the ice. Like he'll take 2-on-0s, breakaways, one-timers. Like he does it all. Like he wants to stop the puck, and he's a worker. He's earned everything that he's gotten to this point.
So what has been your input when it comes to the goaltenders? How do you try to help them develop and build upon their game?
I think my role for me is giving them confidence that they can step into the net, no matter who we're playing, that when the puck drops, that they have prepared as well as they can be for that game. And it's tough during the season because we play so many games and our schedule is pretty crazy. I'm not going to totally change a goalie's game just because it's such a quick turnaround game to game. That stuff happens more so in the off season, but in season, it's just making sure they get enough reps, that they're working through any little kinks that they need to, and talking with me. And we do video sessions after each game to break down, some things that they need to work on, some things that they did well, and just try and keep building them so that they're, when the game starts, that they're ready to go.
It's interesting. I was talking with a goalie dad, so you can imagine he was crazy. But anyways, we had a great conversation, and we talked about preparation and what goes into the off-ice work that a goaltender does. And he said, you hear often about baseball, how teams will prepare for a pitcher or a batter or something along those lines. He goes, you haven't seen nothing yet with what happens with goaltending and video work now, from positioning to recovery to, again, preparing for the team that you're playing against. Can you walk me through exactly what that looks like?
Yeah, well, to be honest, we don't really do much preparation for what the other team is going to do, just because, it's hockey. Shots come from all over the place. Obviously, if there's something that they do on their power play, that's maybe different than other teams. Like if they look for a guy in a certain spot, we'll touch on that. But as far as video goes, it's a lot of what we've done in the past. And especially, like I said, in the previous game that the goalie has played. And yeah, a lot of it is recoveries, situational awareness. Like a lot of it is rush reads. So when guys are coming in off the rush, what hand is the shooter that has the puck? What hand is the guy that's driving to the net? Is there like a second wave of guys that are coming in where they might try and delay, which you see a lot now in the NHL, as guys will turn back if they don't have anything off the first rush and wait for that defenseman to jump into play. All those sort of things are things that we look at. And I could be here for 20 minutes talking about stuff that we look at, but that's kind of the gist of it. A lot of it comes down to awareness and making sure that guys are understanding plays before they happen, because the puck comes in at you fast, and if you don't know what's happening before that, then it's going to be tough.
I did also just want to mention here, because we are running out of time, Max Paddock. Curtis Hunt says hi. I know you might not want to hear that after the home and home with the PA Raiders this past weekend, but
he said ask him about going hunting up north. So I don't know if we should or not.
We would go fishing. Well, not me and Curtis, but when I played up in PA, we would go fishing on our days off. It was awesome. Go ice fishing, catch a bunch of fish, have a fish fry on Sundays.
I knew there was a story there.
Can I ask one quick question?
Of course.
How much do you work on shootouts? And Would you ever advise a player to use the same move twice in a shootout when he gets a second chance? Like, come on.
Oh,
Valid
God.
question.
It is, yeah. You know what? We play a game at the end of practice most days called Juice. So every player gets to go, and once you score, you're out. So the last person standing, if they don't score, then they have to buy, we call it juice. So they have to buy like a pop, or guys get to choose what they want. So most guys get like iced tea or Coke or whatever, and the guys to go grocery shopping and bring a bunch of pop to the rink the next day. But that's pretty much it for shootouts that we work on. But as far as doing the same move twice, I wouldn't advise.
Not recommended. Understood. No. Max Paddock, goalie coach, manager of hockey operations for your Regina Pats. Thank you so much for taking the time, Max.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
And of course, he was joining us on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Patch Chat is brought to you by Saudi Mainline Chrysler. 2026 is here, and the 2025s have programs to show. Call Saudi Mainline Motors. The most new 2025s are at below cost. They don't have many left, so make sure that you act fast. And reminder, text us 306-936-6262 for a chance to win some Pats tickets for the game on Friday. But we are going to take a quick break here. This is the Sports Cage on 620 CKRM and streaming at sportscage.com.